high fidelity.
Broadcasting from Cincinnati, you're listening to the Ringside Reporter podcast. All the news in the world of boxing right here.
Well, I'm talking to you the way I want to talk to you.
Now, here's your host, Eric Lorda.
And we are live. Welcome to the Ringside Reporter podcast, where we talk about the latest boxing news. If it's related to boxing, we'll talk about it here. My name is Eric Lorta. I'm here with my co-host, Ringside Robert, and England's adopted son, Joe Habib. We have a great show for you today, and you can catch us on the web at ringsidereporter.com. If you want to call and ask questions, the number here is 323-870-3857. And we're going to be here till about 9 p.m., maybe a little bit earlier. It's a late news week, man. Very light this week. Today, we're going to talk about the Mayweather-McGregor pay-per-view buy rate is out, and it's pretty amazing, man. We'll tell you about it. Manny Pacquiao turns down a rematch with Jeff Horn, and Terrence Crawford vacates his IBF belt. But first, we get started in Chihuahua, Mexico. Antonio Margarito versus Carson Jones. This was a competitive fight, man. It really was. It was back and forth, but I thought down the stretch, Carson Jones was taking over the fight. The big turning point in this, not necessarily the turning, but the big controversy in this fight was there was a point deducted in the 5th round from Carson Jones for a headbutt. The headbutt was not intentional, but I'm still curious as to why a point was deducted. The referee didn't deem it. I guess the referee had to deem it one way or the other. I guess he deemed it intentional, but I don't understand why. That was kind of where I fell in on the controversy. The fight was eventually stopped in the after the 7th round due to the cut. I thought Margarito honestly looked like a shell of himself in there tonight, or last night anyway. He would always take punches, but he's been taking a lot more in his last 2 fights than he has. And I believe he's actually in danger, man, if he keeps fighting. He's taking a lot of clean, crisp shots that he should not be taking. And shots that, you saw him take early in his career and he was like praised for it. But, man, now he's just, he looked gassed in this fight. He did not look good at all. Final scorecards were 67-65, 68-64, and 67-65 at the time of the stoppage. Margarito wins a unanimous decision, technical decision, I imagine. A lot of people after this fight were crying foul about the decision. I heard that, Jones was robbed. Carson Jones was robbed. It was because it was in Mexico, it was a bad decision. This may have been a bad decision, but he wasn't robbed. It was competitive at times. It's not exactly like Carson Jones blew him out. Each round was not clear for Jones. In fact, most of the rounds were up for interpretation. I mean, the scores of BN Sports and Beeb, you can correct me if I'm wrong, they had it a tie going into the 6th round, or maybe that was a tie going into the 7th round.
Yeah.
I had Jones winning 67-65 at the time of the stoppage, but, it wasn't a robbery.
No.
It wasn't, it wasn't a robbery by any stretch, man. After the fight, Margarito called out Miguel Cotto in a fight absolutely nobody wants or needs to see. Beeb, what were your thoughts on this fight? And is this something, you'd like to see Antonio Margarito fight again?
Well, I got to be honest, this was a very entertaining fight. Both of these guys met in the center of the ring, and they jumped in a phone booth together, and they had a pretty entertaining fight. This was a hotly contested fight for the first 4 rounds. I believe you said you gave Jones the first 2 rounds, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct?
I believe I gave him the first 3. Let me check.
First 3, yeah.
Yeah, let's see here. I gave Carson Jones 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
4 and 5 went to Margarito. 6, 7 went to Jones.
Well, that just goes to show you how close these rounds were, because I gave Margarito the first round. I gave Jones the second. Then I gave Margarito the 3rd and 4th. But like I said, rounds are interchangeable. They could have been for either guy, in my opinion. But in the 5th round, I noticed the momentum start to change. And I saw that Carson Jones's punches were starting to have a big effect on Margarito, whereas Margarito was taking the shots earlier on. But I think both these guys, I thought Margarito looked good offensively the first 4 rounds. because I'm used to seeing him throw wide winging shots. He was actually keeping the shots pretty close, short and compact up close. Whereas a lot of times I see him open up and really torque the shots and swing wide with them. I thought offensively on, but in the 5th round, Jones really started getting some really excellent leverage on that left hook. And he was really snapping the head back of Margarito with that left hook. And the reason why he was able to open up that left hook was he was getting real low, and he was actually, really camouflaging the punch. And it was hard for Margarito to gauge whether he was going to shoot that to the body or to the head, because he was really mixing it up and throwing it, in a lot of various ways. He was throwing the short hook to the body. He was coming up and turning it over really nice to the head. And, Margarito was starting to wear down from the body shots. And then, he was bringing his hands down to protect his body. And then that opened up that nice mid-range to short-range hook for Carson Jones. And he was really starting to land that from the 5th round to the 7th round with regularity. That's not to say Margarito wasn't still getting his in spots. But for the most part, I thought Jones was the one who was pushing Margarito back. He was hurting him. And, he was definitely starting to wear Margarito down, in my opinion. And it looked like the fight significantly turned in the 5th round. The referee took a point away in the 5th round because he said that Carson Jones was headbutting Margarito. I guess he may have given him a warning earlier on. But, it was really incidental contact, because you have Margarito, who's tall, and you also have Carson Jones, a little bit shorter, but he was really getting down low. And when you get down low and you're trying to fight inside and go to the body, obviously your head's going to come forward a little bit. And because Margarito, even when he's up close, he was still getting his hip in there. He's turning into shots, but he really wasn't bending his knees. So he was kind of upright more so. And Jones was like this. So Jones, the top right side of Jones's head hit Margarito like on the side of the eye, under the eye, towards like the outer orbital region, and a little bit towards the cheekbone. And where that cut was, you could see that happened in the 2nd round, and it happened very subtly. You know what I'm saying? But in the 5th round, the other butt was more along the lines of like in the middle of Margarito's forehead. So
Okay, Beeb, if you can hear me, your audio's cutting off here. So basically, and the point of interest too, you got to think in the 5th round, I had it scored 10-8 for Margarito. Actually, 10-8 for Margarito, because that was the round that had the point taken away, the point deduction. So in that, we talked about, some people thought it was a clear Carson Jones round. To me, if you get, and Robert, maybe you could jump in here and correct me if I'm wrong here. When somebody gets a point taken away from it, there's a knockdown. Do you feel like it has to be a clear, because at that point, you get the extra point. Does it have to be a clear, to me, like Margarito, Carson Jones got the point taken away. To me, he has to do something like it has to be an overwhelming round for him to come back and make it a 9-9 round.
I would agree with that. Yes, I would agree with that.
And
So if he lost a point, it would be scored a 10-8 round on the scorecards. So even if there was no knockdown, if he lost a round, instead of losing around 10-9, he'd lose at 10-8. But in order to make it even, he'd have to come back from the point deduction and basically dominate the rest of the round.
Right. I'm told the power went out at Joe Habib's house, and it's coming back on now. I guess There was like a flicker or something like that. You know how that goes. So he'll be back on here shortly. But So let's talk a little bit about it, and we'll stay on this fight here, because I thought it was it was one of those fights that everybody cried foul on it, but again, I mean, I don't see that it was a classic robbery per se, or one of those type things. I mean, did I feel the decision went the wrong way? Yeah, I kind of did, but and Margarito looks awful. I mean, let's just call it what it is. He looked terrible last night. He was gassed around the 5th round. And 6 and 7 just completely went to Carson Jones. He was cut already over that eye, or right along the edge of that eye. It looks like right on the side. In the 2nd round, you could already notice it. You could already notice the blood streaming down and everything like that. So he was cut there, it wasn't good, man. And he was cut early. You know, I tell you what, man. And so after the fight, and Robert, you could speak to this. After the fight, we talked about Margarito called out Miguel Cotto. What about that fight? Is that a fight? I mean, because you saw Miguel Cotto fight last week. What about that fight?
Number one, I don't think Oscar would go anywhere near it because remember, De La Hoya is now his Cotto's promoter. But number two, if they did fight, it would be two has-beens that should no longer be fighting. As I stated last week when I talked about Cotto, yeah, I don't know if you got a chance to see the Cotto fight or not, Eric, because I know you were watching the Mayweather-McGregor, but Miguel Cotto in his prime would have tore apart Mira, and instead of tearing him apart like a fighter should have, Cotto basically allowed him to stick around for the whole fight. Miguel Cotto should no longer fight anymore, and I've been saying because of Antonio Margarito's eye problems, and I've made this very clear over the history of this podcast. Whenever his name has come up, he should no longer be fighting. I am legally blind. I've been legally blind since birth. He's going to wind up like me and not be able to see much of anything if he continues. And I don't know why people in Mexico continue to give him a boxing license. Cotto should be done. I know he's going to have one more fight supposedly in December. I don't know who that's going to be against. But Cotto should be done and Margarito should be done.
Do you think Margarito here's where – go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, I don't understand why fighters don't receive the message. You know, when you look bad in a fight, maybe your body is trying to tell you something. Go ahead, Eric.
You know, I was going to say, should Cotto give him the fight? Because it could be a money fight. I mean, not big money, not crazy money, not millions and millions kind of money.
I don't know.
But should he give him that kind of payday?
It depends on
based on
where their egos are at. Like, I know Margarito will take any money he gets, but does Miguel Cotto does he still think he's a superstar? In other words, is Oscar going to be required to make sure that he gets paid a certain amount of money? Because you know what kind of diva Miguel Cotto has been throughout his career.
Right, but negotiations 750. He got 750,000 last week against Kamagai.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, if you want a gold watch kind of fight, to me, I guess that would be a fun fight to watch. But as a boxing fan, I don't want to see a third fight with those two. I really don't.
Beeb, where do you come out? Let's talk about, before we even go to that, let's talk about that fifth round, Beeb, because I know you were pretty adamant about this.
Yeah.
Carson Jones a 9-9 round. I gave Margarito the 10-8 round. And I just talked to Robbie about this too. And let me explain my logic on this. Is it, if you get a point taken away or there's a knockdown on the round, I feel that you have to come back overwhelmingly and win that round. I mean, it's got to be completely decisive. And I fall on that. And if you don't, then you got the point deducted and you're losing that round as a penalty. Or if you got knocked down, I mean, then you clearly lost a round.
I thought that Carson Jones was winning the round handily, so I would have scored a 10-9 for him. So that's why I made it 9-9.
Okay.
But let's go back to the fight a little bit and talk about that cut, because like I said, the cut did not look that bad. It wasn't in a bad area. And because as I mentioned to you off the air, Carson Jones has a shaved head, and I thought in the second round he did, his head did cause the butt. It was just a little subtle move he made. The top right part of his head was like this, and he went up and he kind of scraped the side of Margarito's eye, right around the outer area to the cheekbone, like I said, and it caused a very small cut. It started opening up a little bit, but it looked like the corner really had that under control, and it wasn't bleeding that much. And because of where it was, being on the outer part of the eye and down towards the bottom of it, there was no way that the blood could flow into Margarito's eye. Now, we've seen Margarito's eye look 10 times worse than that in the Pacquiao fight and the second Cotto fight, and he kept going in the Pacquiao fight, and he wanted to keep going in the Miguel Cotto second fight. So I thought the referee took a point away where I don't think that it was really warranted. It was kind of like in the heat of the moment. They were both fighting inside. They were close together. And it wasn't like, Carson Jones did it intentionally. I thought it was incidental contact. So that in itself, I think, was kind of a bad decision by the referee.
Was it clear to you that he ruled that an intentional headbutt?
Well, it's not that it doesn't matter if it's intentional or not. If it causes if you get a headbutt, whether it's intentional or not, and it causes a cut, and the cut becomes really bad, and where the fight has to be stopped, then it's, if it's after 4 rounds, it goes to the scorecards. If it's before 4 rounds, then it's it's a no contest.
Right,
so
but an intentional butt would have caused the point.
Oh no, that's what I'm saying. I don't think it was intentional. I think it was incidental.
Right.
I think it was that was what I was that was what I was getting to in the 5th round. So I thought it was too quick to take a point. I think because of the both guys were close together. They were inside. Carson Jones was getting low, trying to go to the body, and it didn't look like it was a hard clash of heads. And it wasn't even near the eye. So I could see if maybe he kept rubbing his head up against the bad eye where the cut was already there. Then you could say, well, he's trying to worsen the cut with his head. But this was just him, like kind of like they're just butting heads like more towards the center of the forehead area. So I think where the controversy lies is from the 5th round on, I really believe this fight was turning. And you could see Carson Jones was really, like I said earlier, hurting Margarito. And Margarito was backing up. His head was getting jacked back from side to side and, like a swivel almost. He was really feeling the effects of these shots, and he was really getting tired. And then the referee, takes that point away. So that was a bad move, number one. And then, Margarito's in the corner, and he looked like he didn't want to come out for the 8th. So then they called the doctor over, and they stopped pointing. Margarito starts tapping his eye, and the corner starts, tapping their head, signifying, yeah, that cut's getting bad. It really looked like, and I hate to say this, and I don't want to criticize any fighter because it takes courage to get in there. It really looked to me like he wanted a way out of the fight, and they were using that eye, and because it was caused by a headbutt as a way to get out of the fight. And I honestly believe, if that fight was anywhere else but Mexico, no doctor would have stopped it at that particular time. They wouldn't have. They just wouldn't have.
Well,
that's just my opinion.
Point to. I mean, you know what they're going to point to. Well, we were trying to say he's had eye problems in the past. We don't want to, given his record, we don't, given his history, we don't want to have anything happen.
Well, that's fine. That's all well and good. But if you clear it to fight, you clear it to fight. The eye wasn't swollen. The cut wasn't that big, and the blood wasn't flowing in the eye. So, if you saw that second Cotto fight, that eye looked like a softball.
Let's clear this up, though. I mean, why is he only allowed to fight in Mexico versus? Is it because of his eye, or is it because of his past history?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know if he's not allowed to fight in the United States. I don't know of that. I mean, I know the last fight he did fight was against Cotto, and that was after the controversy.
Yeah,
that was after the controversy, and that was after the eye injury. I'm thinking he fought in Mexico. Obviously because he was fighting Carson Jones, and if they made the offer to Carson Jones, and they had the leverage over him, so why not fight in Mexico? Have everything in my favor, whatever. And again, I'm not trying to put the cloud of suspicion.
If you look on BoxRec, guys, and you look back at his last 2 or 3 fights, they've all been in Mexico. So
well, that's what I'm saying. Why not utilize the home court advantage if you can?
Yeah, it's not like he's fighting mainstream guys over there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's got Fernando Beltran.
If you're the A side on Margarito, I mean, if you're.
But you got a Mexican promoter, Fernando Beltran, who works very close with Top Rank. So why not, use that? Chavez Senior used to fight in Mexico, all the time.
Yeah, all the time.
So it's just
no, guys. But what I'm saying is, I wonder if one of the major athletic commissions has put him on a certain medical status where none of the commissions in the state want to touch him.
I don't know about that. I mean, he decided to retire after the Cotto fight, or was it after the Cotto fight, or not there shortly, not too long after that. He decided to retire. He wasn't told that he wasn't. He passed that New York commission. Is a very stringent, very strict commission, and if you can get cleared in that commission, then you're going to be good to go, because that was the same commission that did not sanction a Evander Holyfield fight due to diminished skills. So they thought that he just
right.
wasn't. So if they're going to do that, then if they don't think Margarito's safe, and again, of course, Margarito was connected at the time with Top Rank, and I'm sure they did everything they could to sway the commission as well. They have their own major influences within the sport. We know that. But at the end of the day, I mean, this is just him. This is just him trying to rebuild. Fighting at home, utilizing that home court advantage, and again using Fernando Beltran as the lead promoter in these smaller shows. So why not bring guys over there if you sway everything into your favor? But I think when you want to talk about robbery, it wasn't a scorecard type robbery. No. The thing was, it was just unfortunate set of circumstances that allowed this fight to go to a technical decision, where right when Carson Jones was coming on, and it looked like, to me, could have possibly stopped Margarito. I mean, that's not to say that definitely would have happened, but at the very least, he had 2 rounds left. He just came off 2 huge rounds where Margarito was gasping for air, backing up. His head was getting snapped back. He was looking like he was getting hurt, and he was tired alongside of that. So at the very least, you could say that he would have possibly won, at least one or both of the last 2 rounds. But even then, if he didn't stop him, it would have been a draw, according to these scorecards. It would have been a majority draw if he won the last 2 rounds, according to these scorecards. Right. So that was very unfortunate. Then you take that point away, which I think was too quick to take a point away, because, as I said, it was incidental. It wasn't intentional. So this fight had a lot of controversy, because of those series of events that happened to allow it to go to a technical decision, and also that point get taken away. So that's where I have a problem with the fight. That's where I see it being a little fishy. But at the end of the fight, or at the end of the 7th round, I had this dead even, and you had Carson Jones up 2 points. A lot of people had it dead even. Swing round here or there, you would have had it even. So it wasn't like Margarito was behind, way behind in this fight. Carson Jones was way up in this fight. So in that regard, no, this was not a robbery. But you could say that Carson Jones was robbed of a chance to finish Margarito when he had him compromised in there. You could possibly frame it that way if you wanted to. I'm more on the lines of that, where I think Margarito got a break from the doctor, in my opinion, and through a friendly doctor, a Mexican doctor with a Mexican fighter who was fighting under the banner of a Mexican promoter. So connect the dots.
And I tell you what, too, I think there's been a lot of talk in the chat. Hang on, Robbie. There's been a lot of talk in the chat about Margarito and about the Mexican, how Mexico is the only one that'll actually sanction him and everything like that. Let's not act like the United States is any better. I got to be honest with you. Last week, they just sanctioned a guy with no pro fights against a guy with 50 pro fights, or 49 pro fights, as it were.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, I have no doubts that Antonio Margarito could get sanctioned in the United States somewhere.
Oh, of course he can.
All right, so let's get off these soapboxes here, and I mean, listen, it's if the price is right, he'll get sanctioned anywhere. All right, so just let's
Yeah, and let me just jump in with one more thing, because I know you guys are talking about a 3rd fight between him and Cotto, and that these guys got history. You know what I'm saying? They got a storyline, whether it's good or bad. These guys got drama together. And you got that Puerto Rican Mexican rivalry, okay? And Cotto wants a farewell fight. And I know Freddie Roach is saying he wants the winner of Canelo versus Triple G. That ain't happening, because those guys are at middleweight, Cotto's at 154. And if that fight gets presented to Cotto, Cotto will quite possibly say, hey, I'm not a middleweight. I'm a junior middleweight. I'm a super welterweight, whatever you want to call it.
Leverage for weight there, yeah.
Yeah, and if he goes up and tries to fight one of those guys, he's not going to be the A side there. Whereas if he fights Margarito in a 3rd fight, you put it in MSG, that place will sell out. And again, you got the storyline, you got the drama between these two. If this fight, you got Golden Boy promoting it, and if this fight could get promoted well, and I think it would get promoted well, having these press conferences with these two guys going back and forth, because Cotto is not subdued when he's talking about Margarito right now. When you put him in a room with Margarito, that's fireworks. That's Cotto going outside of his normal subdued, stoic self. And that in itself would get people interested. And, again, being the A side, he would in this type of fight. This could be a good cash out fight for him because he said he wanted one more fight left. And he's not going to fight a killer at 154. So why not fight Margarito in a third fight at MSG, sell the place out, possibly get about, in the 5 to 8 million range, maybe even 10 if the fight does well. I'm telling you, kid, this guy gets paid. This guy gets paid. Look at the run. Look at the run.
I think you're way
but think about it. We all. Let me finish, Robbie, please. We all, popped our eyes wide when we saw that Rock Nation deal, and we also saw the guys he was fighting with those guaranteed purses from Rock Nation.
And we also saw Rock Nation cut him.
Yeah, but again, Golden Boy. This guy got $750,000 to fight Kamagai last week.
Far cry from what he was getting from Rock.
Yeah, but think about it. This at the very least, I think he gets $5 million from Margarito.
No.
I'm just being honest.
And the way he's talking, it would be pay-per-view.
It'll be pay-per-view.
No.
And it at least does 700 to $1 million. And I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. Pay-per-view has changed. It has taken a turn for the worse because of all the piracy. But there's also more ways to watch pay-per-view because people can buy pay-per-view and they can watch it on their laptops, their tablets, their phones. Golden Boy has jumped on board with this digital streaming, and UFC has sort of paved the way for it. And then Showtime has paved the way, has started jumping on board with it. So there's a lot of ways for people to buy pay-per-view now and watch pay-per-view now. And, this fight will have a lot of interest, internationally as well. Like Mexico will definitely love this fight. New York would love this fight. I think the Hispanic population would come in droves to watch this fight. I think this fight would do a lot better than you think, Eric. That's just my opinion. Think about it. Canelo versus Chavez Jr., that did $1 million. Why, is that fight bigger or better than this fight right here? And these guys are pretty much faded to the point where they're on the same level and they have bad blood. So if this is promoted right, this thing has legs, fellas. I'm just saying.
That's a big stretch. 10 million is a big stretch. $1 million is a big stretch for.
Did you think that Chavez Canelo was going to do $1 million? I did not.
Yeah,
I did not.
Well, no, we said what do we say? I think
I said
750. I think I said under 750. You said over 750. So
I said 500. I thought. Didn't I say? Did I say over?
I'm sure it was 750.
Yeah,
I thought it was.
Okay. So 750 was the number for that.
Yeah, and that's a big one. I mean, that's a big. And you're talking about 2-shot fighters here, man. 2-shot fighters. Miguel Cotto's a shot fighter too. He's not been the same since that first Margarito fight. Say what you want. I mean, he has not been the same since that first Margarito fight. He hasn't. And the thing is, man, is that he was match made very well. And I'll be the first to admit he did better than I expected in the Canelo fight. Bottom line is he lost it.
And here's the funny thing. Not to cut you off, I apologize, but here's the funny thing. Everyone's in the chat saying, I'm not going to buy it. I'm not watching that shit. I'm not paying for it. And all these people said the same thing with Mayweather McGregor. Then the promotion starts. And then you start, this is kind of cool here. And then a couple of weeks go by.
Let's see.
I don't know. A couple of weeks go by. I don't know if I'm going to buy it. And then, as closer it gets, you all break down and buy it. Like, say, for instance, they have a press conference or something. Like, you're watching, they hype the fights, and then Cotto takes off his sunglasses and chucks them at Margarito's face. And Margarito picks up a water bottle and guns it at Cotto's head. And this gets
you buy it. You got to buy it.
Then everyone's like, yeah, man, I want to see this. I want to see this. Come on, guys. We all get sucked in. I caught myself stopping and watching two pigeons out in the street fighting over a piece of bed the other day, man. We stop and watch stuff. We're interested in things, We get sucked in just like anything else. Come on now.
That's it. Yeah, they take a swing each other at the press conference. You're buying. Look, remember what was it? Was it Eric Morales and Barrera? Wasn't it Morales and Barrera when Barrera took that swing at him? He was just standing there talking.
Yeah, it was.
I'll tell you right now, I'm buying Cotto Margarito 3. Of course I am. Of course I am. Why wouldn't I? I bought Bobby Gunn versus Roy Jones Jr., baby. Why wouldn't I? I got
very
a free
underrated
bowl of
fight.
soup.
Bobby
And I got a free bowl of soup with that paper.
No one
I got
watching
a free
that one.
bowl of soup with it.
You got a free bowl of soup.
Hey, remember Eric? We tried to buy it in DirecTV.
We couldn't.
Didn't have it available.
I know, we couldn't, man. I had to have to watch
You got Comcast, baby.
Comcast.
You gotta bundle up with your internet, man. You get that high-speed internet.
High quality
Daddy.
fight they show on Comcast on pay-per-view.
Oh man! All right.
All right. So,
man,
bottom line,
around Eddie Hearn, man. I know how things get promoted. Me and Eddie, we talk all the time.
you talk to that wank?
I love that guy.
He'll have you on ham radio pretty soon, Beeb. All right, let's talk about what's this?
I was going to say I'm a licensed ham operator. You got to pass stringent tests for that.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, let's talk about Daniel Roman defeated Shun Kubo for the WBA regular featherweight title, not the irregular one. This is just a regular one. And that was in Japan this weekend. Robert, you got some news for us. Robert, over the weekend, watched Mayweather-McGregor. I think he watched it not from the Showtime. I think it was recorded on his DVR from the pay-per-view broadcast. He won't cop to it.
No, I watched it from Showtime when they replayed it last night, and I did record it. Yes.
He won't cop to it, but I think that may be the case. Robert, what did you think of the fight?
Okay, first of all, I'm going to reiterate this. I did not pay for it, so I watched the replay last night. Just to make that clear.
I don't believe it either.
I watched the fight, and I totally agree with your guys' assessment. Floyd Mayweather is done. He should never step in a boxing ring again. He needs to do his TMT stuff with Mayweather Promotions and be the businessman that he is and pay his debt to the IRS. But he should no longer put on a set of boxing gloves. Conor McGregor, however, took advantage of the fact that Floyd Mayweather was old, and it looked a lot better than what I dreamed he would. I scored the fight, and I gave McGregor 4 rounds. I had it 5 rounds before when they stopped it in the 10th for Mayweather. If that thing would have went the distance, I might have scored that thing a draw, because Mayweather did not look like Floyd Mayweather, and McGregor took advantage of that fact. And, what can I say? They were successful in their promotion. We'll talk about the numbers later. They both made a hell of a lot of money. And McGregor's stock goes up, whatever he decides to do, But I know he's going to go back to the UFC. But if he ever wants to fight somebody in the boxing ring again, he showed enough in this fight where if he wanted to take somebody on, I don't think they could ignore him. Mayweather, on the other hand, stick to promoting. Your career is done.
You think? I mean, could you imagine though? Like we were talking about this last week, and could you have imagined like Errol Spence in there with either one of these two guys? That fight doesn't go 6 rounds.
I think Errol would be successful against both.
Yeah,
but Conor,
for sure.
Conor did well enough. If he wanted another boxing match, he deserves to have one.
Yeah, I agree. I wouldn't mind seeing him fight Paulie. But I don't know that I believe that there's more money in a Diaz a rematch with Nate Diaz than there is with a fight with Paulie. I just do.
Yeah. Well, I've heard McGregor say that if he did fight in the boxing ring again, he'd like to get Manny Pacquiao in the ring.
McGregor said that?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he'd crush Pacquiao. I don't know.
But I don't know if Manny would go for it because he pulled out of the Horn rematch.
Yeah, he doesn't seem too anxious to get in there, does he? Yeah.
Yeah, right. No.
Not at all. Not at all. So, did you enjoy the fight overall, though?
Yeah, no. Since I didn't pay for it and didn't contribute to his IRS payments, I was pleased.
Listen to you.
Who wins, Robbie? McGregor or Malignaggi?
Oh, Conor McGregor schools Paulie Malignaggi.
What rounds did you give Conor in that fight? I'm just curious. I want to see if my scorecard's like this.
I scored the first 3 for Conor.
Yeah.
And I also gave Conor the 5th.
Robbie's a smart man. That's exactly how I had it scored.
I gave Conor the 8th.
He's a boxing scholar, man.
That's cool.
Yeah, I heard a lot of people gave me the 8th too.
I had it 86-85 for Mayweather at the time of the stoppage.
All right, what did you think of that 9th round when Floyd got hit with that body shot early and went to the ropes, and the referee just backed him up?
I thought Floyd was in serious hot water, man.
I did too.
I was hoping that McGregor would continue to go back to the body, because I think it could have been a completely different ending.
Yeah, I went back and watched that too.
Completely different storyline.
Mm-hmm.
He was hurt.
So what are your thoughts when you hear people say that Mayweather carried him, or Mayweather, it was all in his plan to get him out of there late and, carry him and everything like that?
To put it bluntly, fucking bullshit.
I love it. I love it.
And I don't want to hear Floyd Mayweather say to anybody else anymore, "Oh, that was my game plan." No, dude, you were old.
Game plan.
Father time is the only thing in this sport that's undefeated, and nobody's been able to beat him yet. So,
want to see a rematch, Robbie?
Do what?
Want to see a rematch?
No.
Did you pay for a rematch?
Yeah, you pay for a rematch.
No.
Yeah, you pay for it, baby. Would you pay to see him and Malignaggi fight?
Paulie ain't worth pay-per-view.
Oh,
wow.
Harsh.
Are you gonna pay for Golovkin, Canelo?
Of course I am. You know that, Beeb. And by the way, I've got news on that. And in case you guys haven't heard, it's going to be $30 cheaper. Thank God.
No.
It's going to be $80 HD. What are you talking about? That ain't $30. That's $20.
$20, man.
In an article I read, what was it, yesterday? They said the HD price would be $70 for Canelo and Triple G.
Yeah, I don't think.
Oh, come on. Where's that?
Yeah, ho. Here, hold on. Let me see.
What, you got a coupon?
You got one of those special codes you put in.
Talk to the Los Angeles Times. That's what they printed in Saturday's paper.
Oh, you can't trust that newspaper, man. The only newspapers you can trust are from Cincinnati.
Oh, my God. Here we go again.
Let me see if I can find this, man. So, I'm trying to pull it up. Let me see. Yeah, it doesn't. I can't even find out. I hate DirecTV's website.
You gotta go to Comcast, kid. Come on.
Well, how much is it on Comcast?
Let me see. I can pull it up in 2 seconds.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right.
Yeah, let's see if he's successful.
Go to Takate's website, see if they have it on there. Tweet to Sylvester Stallone.
I know Ring TV will have it.
Golovkin code pay-per-view price.
All right, there we go. Supremacy. So it's $80. Yeah, it's $80 on DirecTV.
That's it.
Well, you know what? I'm going to pay it. I don't mind.
$100. You could have watched Mayweather fight. It's 20 more bucks.
I know. I'm going to watch two guys put on a heck of a fight, and they don't have tax issues.
We are such degenerates, man. In 2 months, we've spent $200 on fights. Think about that for a minute.
I have.
Yeah, you have. Yeah, you have.
No, I did not. Eric, I'll be glad to show you my DirecTV bill when it comes in.
Yeah. Liar. Sorry about that. I just cleared my throat.
No, I will have. I'll have somebody send you a copy.
Yeah, $69.99 for regular, and then $79.99 for HD.
Well, you know what? That's a price. And by the way, Beeb, agree with you.
The undercard's weak.
I don't think it's going to end in a knockout. I think it'll be a lot like the Daniel Jacobs fight. I think it's going to go the distance.
Golovkin's going to stop him.
I'm telling you what, man, this fight ain't as out of reach as you guys think.
I think it is.
I know we're going to go over it next week or whatever, but this ain't no walkover, man.
No, I've never indicated, Eric, that it is a walkover. I think they're both going to raise their games, and I think it's going to be highly competitive.
I'm not changing my mind because Canelo knocked out Liam Smith and Amir Khan, and he
Liam Smith's son, the British
Superman. And he had a sparring session with Chavez Jr., who had his hands in his pocket the whole fight.
Chavez Jr. is one of the greats. Where you been?
Yeah.
Hey, look, Triple G is going to win that fight. I have no doubt.
I agree with you, Robbie. Canelo's going to win.
He's going to knock him out.
Canelo, you're taking Canelo, right?
Triple G is going to knock him out in the 9th round.
No, get out of here. 9th
No,
round.
I think Triple G will win a split decision.
Wow.
Decision.
Your boy hedging his bets.
What do you mean split decision? Cut it out.
No, I think because Canelo always fights in Vegas. You have to give Canelo the hometown advantage because he always fights in Vegas. I think it'll be a very close split decision, and I think it'll be set up for a rematch.
I don't know.
I'm going to say something right here because I don't want to give too much away. 2 years ago when this fight was first proposed, right? Triple G was a huge favorite. Everyone said there's no way Canelo can beat him, right? So they had Triple G like up here, and if you're listening to me on radio, I have my right hand up very, very high. And they had Canelo right here. And if you're listening on radio without video, I have my other hand by my chin. So Triple G may have gone down a little bit, maybe an inch, and Canelo may have gone up 2 inches. Now that gap is still wide, guys. That's still wide. People can say whatever they want about the Brook fight, okay? So what did Kell Brook do that was so great? He won 2 rounds, and he got knocked out in the 5th. Okay, that's okay. Daniel Jacobs is a beast. He would beat Canelo right now, in my opinion. I would say that without hesitation.
Triple G.
Okay, I thought he edged, and even though I thought he beat Triple G, I thought he beat him by a point. He edged him. Okay, and that was a great fight. Not a great fight in terms of action, but it was just a really competitive fight. If you like technical boxing, if you like strategy, and you like the sweet science, then you would have enjoyed that fight, in my opinion. Well, Canelo has gotten better because Canelo's gotten better. He's gotten a little more craftier, a little slicker. He's pretty good. Because he's realized his weaknesses. He realizes he's not quick on his feet. He realizes.
I had that fight even, Triple G and Kell Brook at the time of the stoppage.
That's what I did too. But that's 4 rounds in, Eric. 2 to 2.
2 and 2.
Yeah.
You said he was beating him.
No, I said I had it even.
I thought you said you had triple.
No,
you said he won 2 rounds. I got you.
He won 2 rounds. He won 2 rounds. So people acted like because Kell Brook won two rounds against Triple G, they're acting like he just freaking unified the title. I mean, he's won 2 rounds. It's a big deal. That's Mayweather lost the first 3 rounds to McGregor. What's that mean?
The guy was a welterweight. The guy was a welterweight coming up to 160. You should have.
He's not a welterweight. He was a legitimate, at least junior middleweight.
No,
he's not a welterweight.
He's
not a welterweight. The guy walks around at 175 pounds, goes to KFC 3 times a week. There's no way he's a welterweight. Cut it out. Cut it out.
Room to the wolves, boy.
He wakes up at 3 o'clock in the morning and eats a pint of Haagen-Dazs. This guy is not a welterweight. Stop it. If him and I went to the Yucatan, buffet. If him and I went to the Yucatan buffet, I weigh about 212 right now. He could still hang with me if him and I went to the Yucatan buffet. So don't tell me this guy's a welterweight. Cut it out.
He's a welterweight.
Oh, poor Triple G beat up on 100. He actually outweighed Triple G. He actually outweighed Triple G in a 30-day weigh-in. He was like 6-7 pounds heavier than him. Cut it out. It's not like Amir Khan and Canelo. That was no way near that type of fight.
And it wasn't competitive. Canelo put him away. He did what he was supposed to do against the welterweight.
Okay, but I had Khan up 5 rounds to 1 before the stoppage. Most people did.
Because you're a British shill. That's why you had Khan up 5.
You hate Khan. You hate Khan. You have a dartboard at your house right now with Khan's picture up at it. Don't tell me you don't. Most people had Khan up at the time of the stoppage. He was winning that fight.
My fault his girl was stepping out. I'm just saying, it's not a dislike Khan. I'm just,
Okay, guys, hold the phone. Now, Beeb, you're excellent at breaking down fights. Why are you so convinced? Why are you so convinced the look, I'm supporting Triple G, but why are you so convinced? You make it sound like Triple G is gonna be able to just walk him down and knock him out.
Now you're getting it. Now you're getting it.
I'm
telling you, it ain't gonna be that easy, son. It's not
because this is the thing.
He's gonna take some leather.
No, he's not. Daniel Jacobs has a perfect style to beat Triple G. You know why? Because Daniel Jacobs is he's bigger and stronger, and he knew how to use his size, and he used his size effectively. He grabbed Triple G on the inside, and he contained him. And even still, Triple G's had some success up close. Triple G is very, very well-rounded. He's very versatile. I've said this several times. He can fight from the outside, the mid-range, and he can fight inside. But if you're going to gamble on Triple G, the best way to try to beat him is beat him from the outside, because that's where he's the least effective out of the three. And he's the most effective inside. Okay? So Danny Jacobs knew how to deal with him on the outside because he was longer, and he gauged the range pretty good. And even still, he still made a mistake on the outside because Triple G knocked him down with the right hand. But for the most part, he did well on the outside, and he tried to keep the fight on the outside. And when the fight came up close, he wrapped him up and took the inside game away, and he actually leaned on him and really had to make Triple G work hard to get out of those clinches, or he waited till the referee broke him. So Triple G and take him out of his sweet spot. And from the outside, Daniel Jacobs kept changing the look. He never stayed in one spot. He would hit him, and he kept moving. He kept turning him, and he kept turning him. And the reason why he was able to turn him was because Daniel Jacobs was quicker on his feet than Golovkin. Golovkin is pretty quick on his feet. He's not, and people think he's slow with his hands. He's not slow with his hands, but he's just not like a whirlwind with his hands. But he's got decent hand speed. But for the most part, he's deceptively quick on his feet, and he's excellent at anticipating what his opponent's going to do. He can pick up on his opponent's movement and attack patterns, and more often than not, because he's so good at anticipating that and reading his opponents, he cuts the ring up very well, because he beats them to the spot and takes away their angle and takes away the escape route, and he's there and he meets them with counter punches, or he meets them with his punches, because he takes away those angles, and he's so good at doing that, and because of that, he cuts the ring off exceptionally well on a lot of guys. Canelo does not move. He's not a mover. He's a mid-range guy. That's where he's most dangerous. And he's an excellent counter puncher if you stay in that mid-range area. From the outside, what he likes to do is he likes to throw the long right hand and to open up that mid-range hook to the body or to the head. So, Golovkin, because he's so quick on his feet, he's going to get up close, take away that mid-range hook away, and he's going to grind him down inside. He's going to outwork him on inside. And Canelo's not a busy guy. Doesn't throw a lot of punches. Likes to lay back. Likes to go to the ropes. Likes to set traps. And tried that. Tried that against Mayweather. It didn't work. Tried that against Lara. It didn't work. I thought he lost the fight. And he was doing it against Khan for the most part. Khan was picking him apart from the outside until he got hit with the right hand. You know what I'm saying? If Khan could deal with that right hand, then who knows what would have happened the rest of the way. But that's what it could have, should have. That's neither here nor there. But the fact is, Canelo doesn't have the style to beat Triple G, because you have to have two things in your favor to beat Triple G. And Kell Brook had some success because he has one of them. He has quick feet, and he can fight very well on the outside. But he just didn't have the physical strength or the durability to stand up to Triple G. Canelo doesn't have the foot speed to get away from Triple G when Triple G comes inside. He doesn't have he has the hand speed, but Canelo has to get his feet set. Canelo's really good at throwing feints. He's really good at throwing feints and stuff, but Triple G is also good at, anticipating movement and reading guys, and he's good at throwing feints too. And he has that deceptive foot speed, and and he's so strong. I think if Canelo can't keep him, from getting inside, he's going to have a long night. And if Canelo decides to lay back and go to the ropes, then that's going to be another problem for him, which he tends to do a lot in fights. See him go back to the ropes and try to suck guys in. He did it against James Kirkland. He does it against everybody. He does it in this fight. He's getting knocked out. That's just my opinion.
Here's the thing, though, is that you're acting like, Canelo has slow feet, which he's been,
he does have
I
slow feet.
understand that, but what I'm saying is it's not like Triple G is Mayweather in there.
Yeah, but he
has deceptively quick feet either. This guy's 35 years old, son. This guy is 35 years old, and you take a look at his last 2 fights. If this fight was 2 years ago, yeah, it's a done deal. It's a wrap.
That's a mirage, though. That's a mirage because it's a huge mirage. It's a huge mirage.
I'm telling you.
And I'll tell you why. Because Canelo does not fight anything like Kell Brook, and he does not fight anything like Daniel Jacobs.
He doesn't have to.
He does. In order to cause this guy, he does.
His last 2 guys have given him fits. The last 2 guys he's fought have given him fits.
He crushed Brook. He crushed Brook. Daniel Jacobs gave him
147.
He crushed. He was 170 the night of the fight. Doesn't matter.
And I had given Jacobs. I just looked at my scorecard. I given Jacobs 5 rounds from the 5th round on to the 12th. I gave Triple G one of those rounds. Every one of them went to Jacobs.
What was your final scorecard? Because I had Daniel Jacobs winning by a point.
I did too. I think you and I had the same.
Okay.
114.
Okay, so that's the thing. Canelo.
Yeah, for Jake.
Canelo is not going to beat Triple G by trying to lay back and suck him into traps, because that is not the style.
But we're acting like Canelo can't hurt Triple G.
I don't think he can.
Oh,
I don't think he can.
No.
I don't think he can.
I think he can.
I've seen Triple G get hit by huge punches. Curtis Stevens hit him with the best left hook he could have hit him with, the Triple G laughed at him. Daniel Jacobs was hitting him with solid right hands. Triple G was getting pissed off, but he still kept coming forward. And that's from a guy who's 180 pounds. Okay? Kell Brook was jaw-jacking him, and he kept coming forward. Canelo is not this monster puncher. I mean, he's a good puncher. There's no question about it. But Mayweather was walking him down. And if Mayweather's walking you down and you're not keeping Mayweather off you, and I don't care what people say, yeah, he was young, he was this, he was that. Doesn't matter. Mayweather was past his prime, and you were 170 pounds that night. You were 20 to 25 pounds heavier than Mayweather, and you're letting that guy walk. I'm telling you, I am not diminishing Canelo in any way, but there was these last couple fights he's had. If this is a halo effect, he's better. Don't get me wrong, because he's learned and accepted his deficiencies as a fighter, so he's tried to work on his strengths, and he's more relaxed in there. He doesn't get tired anymore like he used to, because he's more relaxed. He's more comfortable because he realizes who he is. He knows he's a counterpuncher. He knows that he's not going to be able to chase guys down. He knows he's not a volume puncher. He knows that he's not a guy that's going to outslick a slicker fighter. He knows what he has to do. But the thing is, you're in there with a guy who is relentless, who keeps coming forward, who doesn't stop throwing punches, and who was really, really accurate and really, really can hurt you with anything he throws.
As of 2 years ago.
No, not at all.
I'm telling you.
So if he wasn't a dangerous fighter, Daniel Jacobs would have walked through him. If he wasn't a dangerous fighter, Daniel Jacobs would have walked through him. Daniel Jacobs fought that fight. Both those guys had a ton of respect for each other because both those guys knew they could hurt each other. And you know what? Canelo, and the thing is this. Golovkin realized 2 things about Jacobs. Yeah, he's big, he's strong, and he can punch. But there's another thing that he realized. This guy is fast, and he could beat me to the punch. He could beat me to the spot because he's fast with his hands and his feet. So Golovkin knows that, Canelo's really not fast on his feet. He's going to be there. He's not going to move a lot against him. Okay, Golovkin knows this. So he's going to be able to create his punching angles. He's going to be able to get up close. He's going to be able to get in there and do what he wants to do. Because he's not going to be – and when have you ever seen Canelo grab and try to physically – he's not a physical guy in there. Even though he's weight bullied a lot of guys, he's not a guy that – he doesn't fight a gritty grinder type inside fight. He's a mid-range hook guy. He's a mid-range guy. He's a counterpuncher. He's a mid-range counterpuncher who loves to set up that big left hook. Okay? He landed the perfect shot against Khan, but that's Khan. You know what I'm saying? If he lands that same shot against Golovkin, you think Golovkin's going to go to sleep? I doubt it.
Yeah, I think if he
I
lands
doubt it.
God, I think
because Curtis Stevens landed a shot like that. Daniel Jacobs landed a few shots like that.
Daniel Jacobs
landed a few shots like that.
That shot that he hit Khan with was from another.
Nah, man, come on, man.
Come on, man.
There's no way.
I've got to.
There's no way. There's no way Golovkin's going to go to sleep with that punch. I'm just telling you. Golovkin has an exceptional chin, and not only that, he tucks it very well. It's hot to hit Golovkin on the chin.
A chin has a number on it, and you can only take so many shots before that chin. Listen, man, your chin has got a date on it. All right, I don't care how many shots you get hit with and how good your chin is. At one point,
but here's another thing. Here's another thing you got to look at. Everyone says that Golovkin's not that good defensively, right? He gets hit a lot, right? Watch him. Watch him tuck his chin. Watch him roll shots, okay? And just watch how he gets low. Most of the times he gets hit, he's getting hit on the top of the head, up around this area. It's really hard to land that perfect shot against him. He doesn't give you it. He really doesn't. He tucks his chin very well. So, Amir Khan, when that shot landed, it didn't land right on his chin. It landed like right around the chin area. So you're in there against a guy like I'm telling you, Golovkin's not getting hurt in this fight. He's not. He's not getting hurt in this fight. He's going to stop this guy. He's going to stop this guy.
I don't know. I think it's a good fight.
Has it changed from 2 years ago? Yeah, but not that much. You guys are acting like Golovkin's got 1 foot in the grave. Come on, man.
So he's got 1 foot in the grave, 1 foot on a banana peel.
I didn't say that.
No way. Not you, but a lot of these Golovkin detractors.
Go ahead, Robert.
No, I didn't say that Triple G's got 1 foot in the grave. I just think you're making this sound like a hot knife through butter, and I think
it is.
Has a lot more to offer. I don't think it's going to be that easy.
This ain't Kirkland. This ain't Angulo. This ain't Amir Khan. Okay, this ain't any of those guys. And it's not Julio. It's not Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. standing there like this. So
look. I think Triple G is going to win, but I don't see this to be as easy as you make it sound. You could be right, but I don't see it that way.
People are totally misreading this fight.
Mm-hmm. Well, I can't wait till next week because that's our review show. That's our preview for Triple G and Canelo next week, man. So right?
I don't know. Somebody's got to convince me that this is that easy because I don't see it that way. Anyway, go ahead, Eric.
Yeah. So it should be good, man. I can't wait. Next week on Ringside Reporter, the preview show for Triple G and Golovkin. We'll have it broken down 50 different ways for you.
You ain't gonna wait bully. You ain't gonna wait bully. You ain't gonna wait bully Golovkin. You ain't gonna be able to wait bully Golovkin this time, baby.
Beeb,
take that away from me.
That's a Beeb where you can lose all your money. And
I've had people send me thank you letters. Beeb, if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be able to buy that dream house. Don't you tell me.
He had him sort of think because they always bet the opposite of what Beeb tells them. So.
Don't even try it. Don't even try it. I showed you the balance sheet. And those are conservative bets. Imagine if I did
conservative bets.
Conservative bets. Imagine if I showed you the real amounts. Forget about it.
I had 5 dimes call me up the other day looking for Beeb. They were like, "Where's he at? He owes us money."
Oh.
All right. Hey, let's go to the phones real quick here. We got somebody on here.
All right. Yeah.
111, you're live.
Hello, Wood.
Hey, what's good, fellas?
Wood, what's happening? What's the good word?
Yeah, a lot of stuff going on. And not much, man. I didn't get to check out the fight yesterday. I had a party to go to, so I didn't check out the Carson and Margarito. But I didn't really have a lot of interest in that one. But next Friday night sounds pretty action-packed in my opinion with the 168 card.
Yeah, David Benavidez.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm kind of excited. I think it's a good look to get that on a Friday night too, versus waiting to Saturday.
Right.
Well, they don't want to go head to head with Superfly. Superfly is a hell of a card, man.
Yeah, it sure is.
Damn, I keep forgetting about that one. Yeah, you're right. Okay, that makes perfectly good sense then.
Yeah.
Yeah, other than that, just speaking of Ohio boxing, Eric, as we always seem to make have some storyline going. But what do you think about Gachet, who we saw in Toledo a couple months ago? What do you think about him getting that date with Lara?
Man, yeah. So that was part of the Showtime triple header, and we'll talk about that. But let's talk about Gachet and Lara, man. Wow, I don't know, man. I don't know if he's ready for Lara, but Lara's been out for a while, right? So
and he's getting older. Father Time is undefeated, folks.
This might be a good move. This is a dangerous fight for him, though, man. This really is. This is not a walk in the park, man. That's for sure.
Does Lara have his hands full here, Eric?
I think so. But I think Gachet has his hands full too. I think it's
a good fight, isn't it?
Fight, man. Yeah,
it's a good fight.
Yeah. But for Gachet, it's like it's now or never. I mean, what is he, 18-0, 19-0, or something around there? I mean, it's kind of like now or never.
20.
Yeah. So it's time for him, man. He needs to step it up, and if he wins, he goes on, man. But when I saw the entire card, man, I saw that Lara and Gachet was headlining. Man, that's a tough one, man. I was like, whoa. I was like, they're not playing around with this one.
Yeah, that's interesting because I put out an article on Round by Round Boxing about him earlier, or yesterday actually, just seeing him on the undercard a couple of times for AB, and then up there in Toledo for E-Bunny, for Robert Easter Jr.
Yeah.
And he's always caught my eye with his ability. Very, very solid guy. And like you said, he is catching Lara a little later, when he's longer in the tooth.
Yep.
Should be interesting because it took Lara 4 rounds to get Foreman out of there back at the top of the year.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'll tell you what, and who was the guy, and refresh my memory here, man, because I know you would know, who was the guy that lost last week? And we didn't, for whatever reason, we didn't mention it on here. I think he's from Ohio. He's the Marine. What was his name?
Herring.
Yeah, what happened there, man?
Herring.
God. Yeah, and I guess he's originally from New York, but he makes his home here in Ohio or whatever. But man, what happened to that guy?
Yeah, I actually interviewed him before that fight, man, and I didn't. We talked, I think maybe that was a couple days before the fight, and he was very confident. We talked about like his advantages going into the fight. He sounded like he was very headstrong in what he wanted to go out there and do, and I just thought he came up short against the guy. And we talked about Ladarius Miller seemingly having a lot of stamina issues very early in fights. But Miller came to fight and just really brought it to Herring, and as a result of that, I don't know what you're hearing down in Cincinnati, but it sounds like a lot of people are getting rid of Mike Stafford as a trainer, including AB and Herring.
AB left him already?
Yeah, that's what we're hearing.
I mean, that's just what I'm hearing. I haven't heard it.
Oh, wow.
Right, it's not official, and he may keep him on as like a go-to, you know what I mean, where they don't officially fire him, so I don't know. But I tell you, my problem with, and I think Stafford's a really good coach, but my problem with his guys, it was my problem with Rasheed Warren, it was my problem with, of course, AB, is they don't throw enough punches. They just don't throw enough punches, and that's the big thing.
Well, he doesn't seem to take charge of the corner either. He seems to be kind of too laid back in there, right?
Well, I think with AB, with Bronner though, I don't know that Bronner's got the capability to listen to anybody. I really don't. I mean, he's his own guy, and he's not going to listen to anybody. I really believe that. I mean, you've never, even if you could put Freddie Roach in the corner, you could put anybody in the corner. He's not listening. He's going to do his own thing. You know who he reminds me of? You remember was Emmanuel Stewart when he had Jermaine Taylor?
Yes, that just didn't work out, man. He could not reach him.
Such a hard hand.
Yeah.
As soon as he get hit, he goes back to what he knows.
He couldn't reach him.
Anything he doesn't, and that's exact. He doesn't listen. And
he used to swear at him in the corner too, man. Oh my God, he gets so mad. what the heck what the F are you doing? What the F are you doing? Come on, man. Come on, man. That was hilarious.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, he used to go in on him, man. But
I love Emilio Stewart. May he rest in peace.
Yeah, Stewart was great.
He was my favorite trainer.
But that's
and another guy that seems to be heading in that direction is Sergey Kovalev.
Sergey Kovalev, we don't know if he's going to fight again or not, man. Because I'll tell you what, man, he had a lot of. He's been having problems with his corner for a long time, and it just kind of came to a head in the second fight.
That's what I'm talking about. He wants to do things his way.
Well, yeah, and he's talking about retirement.
John David Jackson is not a bad trainer.
So, no, and he's
not at all.
Retirement, so. Yeah, I mean, it ain't good, man. He's not in a good place mentally anyway. It doesn't sound like a real good place. Anytime a fighter starts talking about retirement, they need to just retire.
Yep.
That's it. I mean, because then at that point,
Pacquiao needs to go away too. He needs to go away for good.
Yeah, he sure does. Yeah, there's no reason to stay on. There's not, no reason to stay on after that.
Hey, well, what were you guys' takeaway, or what was your assessment of? You mentioned Rashid Warren switching over to Barry Hunter for his last fight against Arroyo. Do you think you saw the changes that you would expect in switching over to Hunter?
Because he was with Hunter. He was with Hunter for that fight where he lost his title.
AB.
He was with Hunter with that last fight where he lost his title, wasn't he?
Hunter's always been involved with those Cincinnati guys.
When he lost the title, Barry Hunter was not in the corner. That was Mike Stafford.
No, it wasn't. Not in Rashid's corner. No. That was not Mike Stafford in Rashid's corner in the fight. Where remember who was the guy Hatton was training? That was the guy who beat him, the Russian, ZZ. Remember?
Yeah, Zakayanov.
Yeah. That was not Mike Stafford in that corner.
Know what? I think I'm getting them confused because Barry Hunter was up there a couple of times, but you might be right, Eric. You might be right.
I thought
but he's always around though. He's always been around those camps anyways. Like even if he's not the main trainer, he's like a chief second a lot of times too.
Right.
You see him in the dressing room all the time. He's really involved with a lot of those guys' careers.
Yeah, he sure is.
He was in the dressing room with Tank one time too, man. Barry Hunter. He gets around that guy. A lot of people. He's really well respected in the boxing circles.
Yeah,
I like him too, man. He's good.
He's good, but you know what? I didn't notice. I mean, with Warren though, I didn't really notice a big change, and I don't know that you can notice a big change. Yeah. You think about it. I mean, you think about where Warren is with his career. He's he's won the championship and everything like that. And he's already heavily in his career, and just with the AB, he's on the tail end of his career. So you're not going to go over there and change these guys. That's it. You know what I mean? You've got to learn to work with what you have.
Yeah,
you may be able to tweak some things, but to overhaul them and stuff like that, that's not going to happen.
Yeah, the late Customato had a saying, man. It's people who are born round, they don't die square, and that's just the way some people are, man. There's no way you can change it.
That's a perfect saying. Yeah, you're right. 100%, man. That's it. I mean, I don't see even I don't know, again, man, I don't care where he goes. He can go to Joe Goosen or whoever. It's not going to make a difference. It's really not. You
either can do it or you can't do it. There's no one going to make you do it. They can help you get there, but if you don't have the foundation, then it's not going to work, man. It's not only that, you have to have the mental capacity to be able to do something too, man.
Well, that's the thing. You talk about like trainers that made a difference. And we talked about Manny Stewart, and you look at like what he did with Jermaine Taylor, which he couldn't do much with the kid. But what he did with Lennox Lewis and like what he did with Klitschko.
Yeah, man. He helped those guys.
Right, but those guys were willing to accept.
They wanted to learn. They wanted to get better.
And number two, the bigger thing than that is they had the physical attributes.
Yeah.
That Stewart works with. He likes tall guys. He likes using that jab, and those, if he had the physical intangibles, those were what Stewart could work with. You know what I mean? So you had those two intangibles there that, that worked. But with these guys, how do you get a guy who's fought like this for over 30 pro fights to change his style and throw more punches? You can't. Because he throws a minimal amount of punches for a reason, because he's afraid he's going to run out of gas. He's moving around a lot. It's a tough style. it's a hard style what he does, you know, and you got to bring in energy and everything like that to it. It's not easy, you know, especially if you're not used to getting hit or don't, you know, not that you're not used to getting hit, but you have a style where you don't want to get hit, and nobody wants to get hit, of course, but it's hard to put yourself out there in harm's way when you know you don't have to, you know, and that's your perception. So I mean, it doesn't matter to me where they go. They're, you know, with Rashid, I've got a little bit more, you know, Rashid seems a little bit more willing to accept criticism and accept instruction, you know, and I think he can make some tweaks that'll work for him. But as far as a complete overhaul, that would be tough. But I still think he's got some stuff left in him. I don't think his career is over, put it that way.
Yeah,
You could be right.
Hey, B.
Yes, sir.
What's your thoughts on Nieves and Inoue? Before you get into that, I just read an interesting piece a couple of weeks ago about Nieves just being a full-time. He works at a bank full-time, and I just thought that was crazy. But you know, I mean, it's not like he's made the most money out of boxing already. But I just thought that was an interesting story to hear a guy, you know, with a 9-to-5 and you know, fighting on the level that he is fighting on. But anyway, you know, what was your thoughts on Nieves' chance against Inoue?
Well, that card next week is going to be a fun card to watch. I think that Inoue should win, and I expect him to win. And I actually expect Gonzalez to win too. But the thing is you know, this division is a great division because when you watch these fights are always competitive and they're fun to watch. So Inoue, I don't know a ton about him. I've watched him a little bit here and there. Obviously, I've seen more of you know, Chocolatito because he's been showcased a lot more on network television, or not network television, but in television in general, HBO in particular. But you know, from what I hear about Inoue and from what I've seen of Inoue, I just think that, you know, he's a well-rounded, solid fighter, and he's a guy that seems to really, really impose his will on his opponents. And I've never been a fan of a guy working a 9-to-5 and being a pro boxer at this level. You know, is it impossible for him to be successful? No, but I think you have to be special, and I think you have to, you know, show that you can just overcome a lot of things, because it's tough holding down a 9-to-5 and becoming a professional boxer. But unfortunately, because of you know, these guys don't make a ton of money, you know, in these lower weight classes, unless you're an elite fighter. You know, sometimes you got to do what you got to do. But it's going to be an interesting fight. It's going to be a fun fight. I think Inoue will win, but I don't think he'll be able to walk through Nieves, but I think that it'll be a fun fight to watch. But I still think he'll win the fight.
Yeah, that's kind of how I see that one playing out too.
What?
Really quick though, I think like you said,
you don't think Inoue is going to win, Eric?
Who's going to win? Nieves. He's from Titletown. What do you mean who's going to win?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Wash Inoue. It's not even going to be close, son. This is let me tell you what, he's going to get the most unwelcome present. All right, when he washes up the shore, Nieves is turning him back. He's going back to Japan, and he's going back crying, son. It's a long plane ride home for him. That's what I predict.
I'd be a lot more comfortable with that. I saw him up at the MGM Grand in Detroit when he lost the fight to Potapov, and I thought that was a winnable fight for him, and he just didn't seem to go out there and get it. So, you know, he just has to prove it to me. I mean, if he wins, great, but that Potapov performance just gave you some pause with the kid.
It was bad.
Let me ask you this though: do you think he's going to bring it next week? You think he's going to? You think it's going to be you think he's going to make a good account of himself? You think that fight is going to be competitive, or how do you see it playing out? Do you think that Inoue is going to dominate? Or I don't think Inoue is going to dominate, but I think the fight will be interesting while it lasts.
I will say this:
how you guys see it playing out? Because I don't know too much about Nieves.
They brought Nieves in. They brought Nieves in because they think he's going to get walked over.
Okay.
They're hoping for a knockout. They're hoping for a big knockout within 4 rounds.
Yeah, may not happen.
And it may not happen, but that's why they brought Inoue. That's why they brought Nieves. They didn't bring Nieves in for a tough fight.
No.
That's for sure. They didn't put him in there and say, you know what, find me the best. They didn't go over there and say, hey, find me the best guy you got and bring him to me.
But Nieves isn't a scrub, though. By no means is Nieves a scrub.
No. And I think Nieves has got a real good chance here because
really?
I do. I really do. Because you know what? Say what you want, man, but jitters are real. And when you get out in front of the lights for the first time on a big card, on a big stage where you've never been, you're in a different country, you've never been here, I don't think Inoue's ever fought here. Inoue's never fought here. He's coming here with a lot of hype. People are expecting a lot of big things.
Yeah.
You got a Mexican in there, Nieves, you're in California. I tell you what, man, it's not going to be easy. I think he's Mexican. I don't know. He's Mexican that night. So I don't think it's going to be easy. That's for sure. In Titletown, we don't lay down for anybody.
You think, obviously, the plan is to match up Inoue with the winner of Gonzalez and Rungvisai?
I think so. I think that's the plan. But, I tell you what, that's not a gimme either. That's not a gimme fight either.
Eric, wouldn't Quadras have something to say about that?
No, he wouldn't.
No, I don't think so either.
He's on the outside on this one.
Yeah, Quadras tends to fade, and I don't think that he's got the he's not like really a guy that's durable, and he's not an exceptionally strong guy. He's a good mover, good boxer, but he's not a big puncher, and he doesn't really have anything to keep guys off. And a lot of times too, he becomes inactive in the rounds, and he seems to kind of try to coast his way. He'll start around strong and he'll finish around okay, but in the middle he kind of tends to coast a little bit, and he's not a big puncher, as I said. So I don't know, man. Like he looks the part, and he's a flashy fighter. He's an entertaining guy to watch, but he's just not a hard enough puncher, to do anything, I think, in this division.
Yeah, you know what though? I mean, Antonio Nieves. I mean, they're bringing him in again, especially for a big knockout for Inoue. Let's face it. If Inoue, if they really wanted the tough guys, if Inoue,
they would have took Quadras. Yeah.
They would have done Quadras. They would have done Francisco Estrada. They would have done one of those two guys. Instead, they did Nieves, who most people haven't even heard of, and who they expect to go ahead and get walked over. So. What does this really prove, though? I mean, I think it's a marketing thing. I don't even know. Even if he beats Nieves, does he get the winner of Chocolatito and Rungvisai? I don't know. I don't know if he gets that.
Yeah.
So
that's going to be a fun fight to watch too. That Chocolatito fight's going to be a fun fight because it's unfortunate in these flyweight divisions, these super flyweight, these flyweight, and these minimum weight or strawweight divisions. In order to get attention in these divisions, you can't have a Floyd Mayweather style. You just can't, because you've seen guys like Michael Carbajal, Jaquit Gonzalez. Then after them, guys like Victor Archinian, guys like Nonito Donaire, and in order for them guys to really, really get attention, they have to be in really high drama, high octane, really war type fights. You know what I'm saying? Or they're not going to get the attention. And I think sometimes when you look at some of these guys like Chocolatito, he's a very good boxer, very well-rounded fighter. And when he was at flyweight, obviously he was a big flyweight, and he was able to kind of weight bully a lot of those guys and walk those guys down. And impose as well on those guys. Brian Valoria, that was a fight where it was kind of fun to watch, but you could tell that, he definitely had, the bigger guns in that fight. But as he's moved up to 115, the story's changed, and he may have to change his style. Not even change his style, but he may have to, box a little bit more, because I've seen the guy. The guy is really, really versatile too. He's a good boxer.
Yeah.
He's a really good boxer, and he could fight well on the outside. But for whatever reason, he fought Rungvisai's fight last time. And I think a big part of that, too, is, he wants those big paydays. He wants to be on HBO. He wants to be invited back on these big cards. And as I said, because these lighter weight divisions don't get a lot of exposure, these guys have to really try to, impress. And they have to, put themselves in situations to make for exciting fights. the big question here is, will he fight a little bit more conservatively and use his physical attributes and gifts in this fight and not fight Rungvisai's fight next week? Will he box well? Will he fight from the outside? Because when he was moving and fighting on the outside and turning Rungvisai, he was having a lot more success. But for whatever reason, the second half of that fight, he decided to make it a war, and that's what made it a tougher fight than it had to be. And that's what the fight was on the table. And I still think he won the fight, but it was I think he just edged it out in the end. Maybe 8-4, 7-5. You know what I'm saying?
It was a good fight, man.
Yeah,
it was a good.
So that's the thing.
I don't know.
I had that 6-6. I had that dead even, man.
Yeah,
so, that rematch, man. Rungvisai is a huge guy. You look at his legs.
Yeah, and he's an excellent body puncher too. You can see he gets leverage on those shots. He throws perfect, well placed body shots. So if you're Chocolatito, you're going to try and stay out of that phone booth this time, because he did very well. Like I said, he was going in. He was going in and out. Let me finish, Robbie, please. Let me finish. He was going in and out. He was going in and out early in that fight.
I agree.
He was going in and out early in that fight, but then he just decided to, hey, I'm gonna go chest to chest with this guy in the second half of the fight, and that's where he had problems. Am I wrong here?
Yeah, he was knocked down. If you remember, Chocolatito was knocked down in the first round of that fight.
He
caught
was.
Cold, man.
He walked into a counter punch.
Yeah, that was a legit
counter punch. And he was like he was going in and out, but he was timed coming in. But then after he got knocked down, it seemed like he wanted a nice little run.
Yeah, he did. He did very well. I thought he won the fight. I thought he won it 8-4. I think it was 8-4. I think I had a 115, 111 because there was a knockdown in there. So it was about.
I had a little closer. I had it like 114, 112, but I still think he won.
And I don't know. I tell you what, man. I don't know who wins this rematch. I don't, man. I
think he'll win. I think Chocolatito will win. But my question is, will he? Like I said, not to beat a dead horse, but will he fight to win and not look good? Will he just win this fight and look good the next fight? You know what I'm saying?
Well, and I think the bigger thing. I think the bigger thing too is that this isn't his weight. This is not the weight for him. He's not looked good. His past two fights here at 115, didn't he? He had before he fought Rungvisai, he had another fight at 115, if I'm not mistaken, and I can't remember who that is.
But he won. But he took a lot of facial damage in both fights.
Yes,
in both fights. So I think Robbie and I were talking about this. After the run was the first Rungvisai fight, we said, correct me if I'm wrong, Robbie. We both said if he continues to fight and get in these wars, will his face hold up? He may have to retire just for the simple fact that his body won't hold up and his face won't hold up.
No, we covered that extensively after the fight. I mean, no, this is obviously not the weight class for him. I think he made a mistake in moving up. I really would. Still on the line. Go ahead. We've been taking over your phone call, man.
Sorry, what?
Oh no, that was pretty much it. I kind of had some concerns. I mean, it's kind of not the same matchup, but looking at the rematch, seeing how close, I thought he won widely. I agree with Eric's scores on that, but I'm wondering, just in the rematch, the Rungvisai, is it like the Taylor and Chavez Senior rematch where it's a completely different fight, the second time around. So I don't think he could do that to Gonzalez. I think Gonzalez had a bad strategy in that first one and kind of got off his game a little bit. I see him being a lot smarter because I don't think he can make those types of mistakes with the type of power that Rungvisai has.
Yeah. Well, maybe he'll realize this time. He's got to play differently.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, you don't want to keep getting in those wars. And it almost reminds me of when Nonito Donaire hit that wall when he went up and fought Walters. And that was just a weight class too big for him.
Yeah.
And he decided, hey, I got to go back down to 122. Is this a situation where maybe Rungvisai gave Gonzalez a wake-up call, or you think Gonzalez is going to stay at this weight? I don't think possibly he can make 112 anymore, so maybe he's got to be up at 115.
I think he's out of options at this point, too.
Yeah.
You think about it, I mean, there's no money fights down at 112 anymore. All of them are at 115.
Yeah, that's a good point, too, Eric. And one thing's for sure, we sure know as hell he can't go to 118.
Oh, no way.
There's no way around that one.
Wood, tell everybody where we can find you.
Hey, just check out Talk Loud Radio, all one word. That's Talk Loud Radio, and then you can find all my episodes, the Pay Me No Mind show. Got an interview on there I'll be dropping this week with Caleb Plant. You can check it out on. I got some of the excerpts from the interview over on Round by Round Boxing is where I just started writing. And Caleb's a pretty interesting guy, man. He actually called out DeGale. He said he has no problem seeing Benavidez immediately after next Friday. Jesse Hart, if he gets past Gilberto Ramirez, he wants him. A very confident guy, but a stark contrast to a lot of the normal boxers that I talk to. Just his demeanor in general. I just really appreciate it. I thought he was a very interesting guy, so I'll probably have that podcast out there definitely before next Friday night.
Good deal.
You're looking out for it. Good stuff, man.
Right. Yeah, Wood, man. Wood always gets the big interviews, man.
No, he does a good job, man.
He does. He always gets good interviews, man. He's writing now, writing for BYU. Even writing for us. We can't get anybody right for us. What's he doing?
Yeah, you should be posting to our website,
I know,
brother.
right? Yeah, what are you doing,
You got
Wood?
good stuff.
I know, right? What's the matter with him? Carlos Quadras was the guy he fought at 115. He beat Carlos
That's
Quadras.
right,
He went
yeah.
life and death with Carlos Quadras too, and then rung the
That's
side.
right.
But Quadras, bloodied him up a little bit. But the thing was not a huge puncher, but he just was hitting him so many times that obviously if you hit someone enough times in the same areas, you're gonna bust up, especially with scar tissue he's got around his eyes. But yeah, if Quadras, you had to ask yourself in that fight, if Quadras was a bigger puncher, what would have happened?
Right.
Honestly.
Yeah. Quadras.
Honestly.
At the end of that fight, Quadras was coming on, man.
Yeah, man.
For sure. He
Yeah,
won a
he's
lot
not
of
a big
rounds, but yeah.
He's just not a big puncher, man. He's not a big puncher.
Right. All right, let's talk about the upcoming fights here. September 8th, which is a Friday on Showtime. David Benavidez versus Ronald Gavril.
I love that fight.
12 rounds, I do too, for the vacant WBC super middleweight title. J. Leon Love on the card against A.B. Hahn. You guys remember A.B. Hahn, 10 rounds super middleweights. I want to see that fight too. And Woods guy, Caleb Plant, he'll be dropping that interview this week. So go listen to it. Caleb Plant versus Alan Campa, 10 rounds, super middleweights. Your boy, we've got a Peter Quillen sighting versus the dreaded TBA, not TBE, TBA, 10 rounds, super middleweights. So there you go. Good card. And hopefully we get to see Peter Quillen on that card. And then, of course, the big one on the 9th. Let's see if there's anything else here. In Puerto Rico, McWilliams Arroyo versus Hernan Marquez, 10 rounds flyweights. In New York on Facebook Live, Ian Green versus Kamal Russell, 10 rounds middleweights. Not sure where on Facebook Live we could see that, but there you go. All right, and so this one baffles me a little bit because I haven't heard anything. And Robert, maybe you're my TV guy. On Saturday, Alexander Usyk versus Marco Huck, 12 rounds for Usyk's WBO cruiserweight title. This is the World Boxing Super Series quarterfinals from Berlin. Does anybody have a TV channel or anything on this? Do I got to really go YouTube these guys on Sunday?
I haven't heard a thing.
How is it you guys are putting this $1 million tournament together? You got all these superstars and you idiots can't get a TV spot for it. Are you serious?
Honestly, that's why I wish we had Sky Sports or Box Nation over here because they show everything, man. But as far as the U.S. TV market, I have not heard a single thing about this.
Yeah, are you serious? No TV, no nothing for it. Unbelievable. Okay, so let's talk about the Superfly card. Soa Rungvisai Shrisiket. Soa Rungvisai versus Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez. 12 rounds for Rungvisai's WBC junior bantamweight title. The monster Naoya Inoue will take his first defeat against Antonio Nieves from Cleveland, Ohio. 12 rounds for Inoue's WBO junior bantamweight title. And then Carlos Quadras versus Francisco Estrada, 12 rounds, a WBC junior bantamweight eliminator. Brian Valoria, also on the undercard, versus Miguel Cartagena, 8 rounds, junior bantamweights. Beeb.
Yes.
What do you think about the Carlos Quadras Francisco Estrada fight?
Honestly, I'm going to be perfect. That's a pick 'em fight, man.
Wow.
Really, it really is.
Quadros
Really,
didn't look good in his last fight, man.
no, he
He didn't.
and Estrada, the thing is this, like I said, Quadros likes to move a lot, and I think sometimes he moves excessively. I think there's not always a purpose to his movement. I just think that he moves a lot of wasted motion sometimes. Plays around, tries to be a little too flashy in there. Estrada's all business.
Yeah.
He may be just like a meat and potatoes guy, but he's a grinder. He's a grinder in there. And I think if Quadros, tires out and fights in spurts like he tends to do sometimes, I think Estrada could definitely steal rounds from him by just outworking him. So it's not a walk in the park. You would sit there on paper. Quadros is the more athletically gifted guy. He's a quicker guy, but Estrada's a tough. He's tough as nails, man. So I would favor Quadros, but I would not be surprised if Estrada won too. Would not.
Yeah, I wouldn't be either. I'll be honest, man. I wouldn't be either. Robert, who do you like, Chocolatito or Rungvisai?
I like Chocolatito in the rematch, but I hope to God he fights a different strategy, because if he fights the same kind of fight he fought the first time around, it'll either be a draw or the guy will keep his title. I scored that thing a draw. It could have been either way. I think it's one of the candidates for fight of the year so far, and I'm really looking forward to this. I think Quadros wins the fight, but I agree with Beeb. We got two out of the 3 fights on this card.
Yeah.
50-50 kind of fights, and they could go either way. This is one of the best non-pay-per-view cards we've had in a while.
I'm excited about this card next week. I think it's going to be a really, really fun card to watch. And let me ask you guys this.
Eastern time, by the way, on HBO.
Yeah, I like Quadros. I like Quadros in that too. I like Quadros. I like, and I think Inoue, like I said, they're going to feed him. They're going to feed Nieves to him because, like I said, if he was, if they thought he was good, if they thought he was that good, he wouldn't be in there.
Yeah.
And as much as I'd like to see Nieves win, realistically, it's a setup fight. So Inoue should win. I don't know what this is going to prove though, because they've just completely fed him. Just kept feeding him people. So no, it's not like we're looking at Lomachenko and his opponents. But I think just real quick here, I think? I think that Rungvisai beats Chocolatito.
Wow.
I think Rungvisai beats him, and I think he beats him. Maybe not decisively. I think he beats him decisively, but I think that goes to a decision, put it that way. But I think Rungvisai beats him again.
Two questions. Do you think that a lot of the facial damage primarily was caused because of Rungvisai headbutting Gonzalez? And do you think that because of that, Gonzalez lost a lot of blood, and maybe obviously the blood was getting in his eyes? Do you think that had a big impact on the fight, the headbutts, and also as a result of the headbutts, the excessive blood going in Gonzalez's eyes? Do you think that played a huge factor in the fight? And do you think because of, that in itself, do you think that Gonzalez will try not to fight as much inside in the rematch?
I don't know. I think that they have to have because I don't think that that was intentional. The headbutts were intentional.
No, I don't think it was intentional either, but I'm just saying it happened.
But you're right. At some point, you've got to get punished for it. You know what I mean? At some point, there's got to be ramifications. There's got to be
that's what I'm saying too.
Something. So I think that the referees this time, going in, the referee, you got to have a stern referee. I think he'll know that this time, and I think they're going to expect it this time. I suspect that they've watched the last fight to look at what fouls took place. And, again, just because you're not doing it on purpose does not make it less of a foul.
No.
It's a foul. All right. So you're going to have to do something about that, So, yeah, I think that it'll be a different fight. But I just don't think this is his weight class, man.
Why? Well, you had him win in the first fight. Why do you think he'll lose the rematch? You had him winning You had him pretty well. Yeah, you had him well ahead. What's different this time? You think Rungvisai kind of has his number a little bit? Maybe he knows that he feels comfortable that he can't be hurt in this fight, so maybe he'll be more aggressive and take more chances and oppose his will a little bit quicker in this fight.
I do, and I think Rungvisai is a better puncher. I always thought that Rungvisai was a stronger puncher.
He is. I think he is. I think he is
too. And I think he's a stronger guy in that first fight. I think that first knockdown really took him by surprise.
Yeah.
The fact that he's in California, you know, I think the fact that he's in California, the house is going to be a Chocolatito house. I think the fact that he's in California is going to be a big factor. I think Rungvisai, you're going to see a more aggressive Rungvisai. I think he's going to go for the knockout. I don't know that he gets it, but I think he puts a lot of pressure on Chocolatito. And again, I think Chocolatito wears down. I really do. It's not his weight.
Well, here's something else to consider too. I mean, if he cuts his face up again like that, could it be a TKO?
It's possible. It's possible. Like a TKO on cuts.
You're starting to make me think a little bit here too. But I don't know, man. I just think he's going to use his legs a lot more in this fight, and he's going to try and fight this fight at a more comfortable range for himself, and not allow Rungvisai to use that strength and physical size advantage over him.
I stopped him from moving around, though.
I don't think Rungvisai wants to. I don't think Rungvisai wants to. I'll tell you what, because that's a very hard style to employ.
Yeah.
It's a very difficult style to employ as far as your gas tank goes.
Yeah, you're right.
And he's going to wear out. So if he wants to run around the ring and back up, I say let him do it. If you watch most of his fights, Chocolatito I'm speaking of, if you watch most of his fights, he's coming forward. That takes less energy than going backwards the entire fight and fighting like a Mayweather. You know what I mean?
Or at least moving side to side. But still, I mean,
the movement takes it out of you.
You got to make a decision. Do you want to use, accentuated movement, or do you want to use subtle movement?
Right.
And, and not only that, too, is, you have to wonder, because Sugar Ray Leonard, the great Sugar Ray Leonard said this, there comes a time in every fight where you have to sit and hold your ground and you have to fight.
Right.
So, well, if Rungvisai can take full advantage of those times when Gonzalez has to reset, or recalibrate, or reignite the gas tank, if you will, or refuel the gas tank, I should say. If he could take advantage of those moments and kind of time them, then he could win rounds here, and he could wear Gonzalez down too. So this, I'm still going to roll with Gonzalez because I think he's the more talented fighter. But at the end of the day, Rungvisai is definitely going to make Gonzalez bring his lunch pail to work next week.
Yeah, and like I said, man, the last two fights, I don't like the way he's looked at 115 at all. And it could be, I mean, let me see here. How old?
He's getting up there in age, too.
I was going to say, yeah, he's 30. And, 30, it doesn't sound like, he's that old. That's old if you're a boxer.
In this weight class, it's old.
Not to
in this
mention,
weight class,
it's older for the smaller weight classes, the 112, the 150.
Yeah,
man, he's
it's old in this weight class,
baby. He's got a lot of miles.
Yeah, these guys fight a lot of fights.
And remember, he's got 47 professional fights.
Yeah.
Yes.
A lot of miles, man. So
he's got a lot of miles.
Yeah,
that's a lot of fights for a guy that's 30.
Yeah.
Mayweather's 40 and he has 50 fights. You know what I'm saying? Got 3 more fights at being 10 years older.
Yeah. I'll tell you what. You know what disappoints me? Anyway, really disappoints me. The handlers. If I really wanted to see him fight Quadras. And I think that either Quadras or Estrada, like I said, I mean, you want to make an impact, bring him here. But I understand the promotional side of it. I understand what they're doing. I just, to me, I don't, to match him up with the Rungvisai Chocolatito winner, look, man, I'd much rather see him fight Quadras or something like that and earn the shot. Well, he's only got, what, 7 fights? Was he got 7 fights or something crazy?
Yeah.
Come on, man.
You still may see him against a Quadras, depending on how everything plays out next week. We don't know. Yeah. I think it's pretty safe to say he's going to fight someone on that card. Someone on the main event or the co-main event.
We'll see how he does against Nieves. I mean, I tell you what, if he struggles against Nieves, man, his stock's going to drop big time.
Yeah. I think he'll make it. I have a feeling he'll make a good show. Yeah, I think he'll have a good showing.
Yeah, I think so. Probably. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. And so that's the deal for this week. And if we get a TV show, if we get a TV show for the World Boxing Super Series or whatever, we got a TV channel on that. We'll tweet it out and let you know what channel it's going to be on and all that other good stuff because they hype this thing up and they get no stateside coverage.
It's horrible, isn't it?
It's stupid. I mean, what are you doing over there? That's who is that? That's Schaefer, isn't it? Richard Schaefer. What's he doing over there?
Yeah, man. Why?
That's Ringstar Sports. Richard Schaefer.
Yeah.
You would think he has connections with Showtime or something, or
somebody.
Al Heyman could help him out a little bit. Who knows?
Right. Why not? You know? Yeah, exactly.
What's going on here?
Exactly. All right. So that's the upcoming fights. And then, of course, tune in next week. We'll have the review of Superfly, and we'll also have the preview of Triple G and Canelo.
And the beating the odds with Beeb for Triple G and Canelo. Bring your bank books next week, Daddy.
Oh, there we go. Time to bet the opposite.
Robbie said, "Yep, come on, you're rolling with me on this one. Don't stab the Beeb in the back. Don't stab the Beeb in the back. I'm the one that bought your pay-per-view a couple weeks ago, and you're stabbing the Beeb in the back."
He bought it.
It's a piece of cake. It's not a piece of cake. Come on.
Robbie, come on, ride with me on this one.
That's great. That's great.
I believe he's gonna win, but you make it sound too easy, man. I don't think it's gonna be that easy.
It's not going to be as tough as everyone's saying. Everyone's saying this is going to be a nip and tuck war. Come on, guys, stop it.
There it is. There it is. Hey, on September 13th, that's a Wednesday at 8 p.m., the Russell Scott Boxing Hour premieres on September 13th. Subscribe to us on iTunes, and you'll be able to download it. You'll also be able to see it on Russell Scott's site, and we should be able to have it on Beating the Odds with Beeb as well. So more coming, more information coming next week.
Blog Talk, by the way, Eric, because I'll be glad to call in for that.
Absolutely, yeah, it'll be on Blog Talk, and you can use the same number. We'll call in. We'll provide the number to you guys and everything like that. So yeah, absolutely, man. So definitely looking forward to it. A new show. So
I'll be here for that.
Good, good deal. So yeah, definitely look forward to the new show, and we'll still have this show, obviously. So tune in and subscribe to us, and you'll download both shows. So how about that? There you go. All right.
That gives me a new show to put up on my boxing corner. So there we go.
There it is.
There you go, Robbie. Keep you a busy man, huh, Robbie?
That's it, man. Yeah. Robbie's got all of his stuff. He's got the monopoly on that thing over there, man.
Pretty soon I'll have to hire you at Beeb Industries because we're expanding.
All right, brother. All right.
Industries. All right. Let's go to our news and rumors here. There's been some chat. There's been some chat about Deontay Wilder's. Some talk in the chat about Deontay Wilder's next fight. Nothing has been released yet. Here's what we can tell you though: that Bermain Stavern took a bunch of cash when he said he wasn't going to step aside because absolutely nobody wanted to see it.
That is effing hilarious.
That's a Don King special right there. Taking
cash.
My
God, Don King is hot.
You remember the stories? You remember the stories when Don King, he said he would be sued for like $10 million. And he showed up at a fighter's house with a briefcase full of money. It was about 50 grand. And the guy would take it to drop the lawsuit. Because he had never seen that kind of money.
I'm telling you, man, when your ribs are touching, you'll take that suitcase of money when your ribs are touching.
Yeah, that's it. But yeah, that's it. That's it too. Yeah. So we don't know who's going to be next. That's right. The speculation is that Louis Ortiz may be next. We're not 100% sure because Anthony Joshua has got I think, what is it? He's the mandatory, and he's one of the mandatories of Ortiz, and he's got until today. I think today or tomorrow or something.
I know Joshua has a mandatory with Pulev, right, in November?
Well, kind of, yeah. I mean, he's got a couple of mandatories, but like I said,
Ortiz is a WBA mandatory for
yeah, so he's got a day or two to say, hey, I want to fight Ortiz or I don't want to fight Ortiz. So we don't know what he's doing yet, but Wilder has come out and said he wanted to fight Ortiz, but who knows? He might be rematching Chris Arreola for all we know. He might be pulling Adonis Stevenson, who knows? But he's got to get in the ring soon, I'll tell you that. But if he does fight Ortiz, man, that's not an easy fight. I don't like that fight for him at all.
No, but, Louis will take that title. Mark it down. Louis will take that title.
I don't know about that.
I don't know about that, Robbie. I still think, man, I'm not sold on Ortiz yet, man.
No, I'm not sold on him either.
Well, I'm not
106
sold
years
on
old.
Bomb Squad either. He's got a lot of holes.
I don't know.
Robbie doesn't like the Bomb Squad that much.
Oh, he's in front of the show. What are you doing?
I'm impressed.
Front of the show, baby.
Keep it up, man.
The Bomb Squad's been in the closet for too long.
So what happened to Charlie Z when he was talking? You saw what happened to Charlie Z when he was talking trash. You don't want none of that.
You saw it. You saw it. Charlie Z takes care of business, baby.
Charlie Z, man.
All right, so that's what we got on Wilder. And as far as Anthony Joshua, I'm hearing I'm hearing two names. I'm hearing Pulev, and I'm hearing a rematch. Your boy Eddie Hearn. I'm hearing a rematch with Dillian White.
Oh no.
Yeah, right.
Really?
I'd rather see Dillian White
All right.
fight Deontay Wilder.
Yeah, I gotta call up Eddie. We gotta see what's going on here.
You
Man.
got to call Eddie. You got to call your boy. He's he's screwing things up over there. His dad's got to come back, straighten him out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I gotta talk to Eddie. I'm not liking this.
Told you, your boy's a wank, man. I told you, he's a wank. What do you want me to say? Told you. Not on.
I'm not a,
Phone and get Eddie on the phone and bring him on the show, and we'll
yeah.
Joe's going to get on the phone. He's going to get the secretary over at Matchroom talking about he doesn't know who he is. Who's this?
I'm not totally against the Pulev fight because it is a mandatory. Get it out of the way. But yeah, man, there's no need for Dillian White right now. He won that fight decisively, I thought.
Pulev needs to be gotten out of the way.
I don't want to see Pulev fight anybody.
Get him out of there.
Yeah.
No, but Joshua will make him disappear. I like that.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. All right. So the Mayweather-McGregor buy rate is kind of out. No official numbers have been released yet, but Uncle Dana, my man, Dana White, UFC president Dana White, says the number of pay-per-views is around 6.5 million. 6.5 million. That shatters Mayweather-Pacquiao's last pay-per-view of 4.6 million. 6.5 million. Of course, that's not official yet. Not official yet. I know this.
I think that's the international number, though, Eric. I don't think that's the domestic number.
Listen, why would Uncle Dana lie?
Now
about
I got a serious question, Eric. This is the first time Dana White has worked with Showtime. Since this fight made so much money, do you think Dana will bring his UFC pay-per-views to Showtime?
Nope.
Because he hates Showtime. Yeah. He doesn't like how they dealt with the Strikeforce situation when he bought Strikeforce.
Yeah, they hate Showtime. Yeah,
they had a big problem.
They don't get along.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, no.
All right.
They had a big problem with that.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. A lot of history with Uncle Dana and Showtime. So, no.
Okay. All right.
All right. So let's talk about this Showtime triple header. On October 14th, Arislandi Lara versus Terrell Gausha. We talked about that fight a little bit earlier. That's a good fight. Jermell Charlo versus Erickson Lubin.
Wow, that's awesome.
Right? Come on.
That's a sick fight.
I like that fight.
Yeah, that's a crazy fight, man. And both of those guys, like you're looking at them like, man, Terrell Gausha and Erickson Lubin, like, are they ready to go? Are these guys ready for prime time? I don't know, man.
I think Lubin and Charlo will be a hell of a fight. Good.
I think so too, man. And then you got Jared Hurd versus Austin Trout. That's on the card also. That's like the weakest fight on the card, and I still think that's a pretty good fight.
Yes, that's a good fight also.
Because, Jared Hurd's good, but, Jamal Charlo got rid of Trout pretty easy. It was pretty convincing, yeah?
Yeah. It was.
But, Jared Hurd is not Charlo. So,
no, he's not.
That's a good fight. Yeah, I'm not hating that fight at all.
Yeah.
And people talk about the PBC and stuff, but, man, I'll tell you what, this card delivers, man.
Well, Eric, that brings up a question. I wonder if Showtime's going to have two cards on that night because also Leo Santa Cruz and Abner Morris is supposed to fight on that same day.
All right, well, I'm glad you mentioned that.
Fights are supposed to be on Showtime,
too. I'm glad you mentioned that because I'm seeing Leo Santa Cruz versus Chris Avalos set for October 14th will be on Fox. So it sounds like a lead-in, man. How awesome is that?
That's right. That card's been moved to Fox. You're right. Okay.
Yeah, so Leo Santa Cruz.
That'll be a hell of a boxing day.
Right. So Leo Santa Cruz fighting Chris Avalos, and then Abner Mares defending his 126-pound title against Andres Gutierrez at the StubHub in Carson, California. Sorry, that'll be on Fox. And the plan is,
if those two win their fights, they're going to have a rematch early next year.
Yeah. So that should be. I don't know. I don't want to. I'm not real crazy about the rematch, but
I'm not either, but it looks like it's headed for that.
Yeah, I guess. Terrence Crawford vacates his IBF title, man, and a bit of a curious move, man. 140-pound, undisputed 140-pound champion Terrence Crawford vacated his IBF title this week. Not like all of his titles to move up. He just vacated the IBF. The other belts not vacated yet. The number one contender, Sergey Lipinets, is expected now to fight for that belt. I like Sergey a lot. But, and Terrence Crawford just tweeted out this week, today or something like that, he said he wants bigger and better things, something along those lines, and then hashtag 147 or something like that. So it sounds like he's going to move up. But
if you're going to move up, why don't you give up all the belts? Why only just give up one? That doesn't make sense.
I don't know. And maybe they haven't decided everything just yet. And maybe they're pressing him. Maybe the IBF was pressing him a little bit, which they've been known to do. So I don't know.
They are an organization that follows their rules.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they really are. Next one is really good. Manny Pacquiao turns down a rematch with Jeff Horn.
Who the fuck is Jeff Horn?
Manny Pacquiao.
Well, I can't say that anymore because now if you watch that fight, you know who Jeff Horn is.
Manny Pacquiao declined a rematch with Jeff Horn for November 12th. He states that he will have prior commitments on this date and will not be able to fight. Obviously, the commitments have nothing to do with the government duty. Have to do with his government duties in the Philippines. Pacquiao's not expected to fight till next year.
Yeah, he needs to retire.
Yeah, Jesse Vargas is incidentally the odds-on favorite to get the fight with Jeff Horn in the fight that nobody wants to see. Bob Arum has already ruled out Terrence Crawford.
Fight, if that's the case.
Yeah, Bob Arum has already ruled out Terrence Crawford for a November 12th fight with Jeff Horn. So,
why?
Because he's Bob Arum,
That's horrible.
Right?
I feel bad for Terrence Crawford.
I hate to say this, but I never have liked Vargas. I think Jeff Horn wins another fight.
I'm not so sure about that.
I'm not so sure either. Yeah, I'm not so sure either. Yeah, I'm not so sure about that, man. Yeah, somebody in the chat said he has senatorial duties. Yeah, that's what we said. But yeah, I mean, that's what we expected.
Well,
I don't think he's scared of Jeff Horn at all. But I will say
the last time Jesse Vargas was in the ring was against Pacquiao, right? He hasn't fought since.
Yeah, but I don't know. But I will say Pacquiao has come out and said he wants to fight in the Philippines, not in Australia.
That ain't happening.
No.
Well, I don't know if he can get that because Horn is the champion,
Yeah.
So we'll
yeah.
Disrespectful in any way, but will they be able to pony up the funds for a fight for a big fight to be in the Philippines?
I don't think so. What's he gonna do? Waive his salary so he can bring the fight over there?
Yeah, right. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Exactly. They have the money to.
How are they going to pay Pacquiao and have that fight in the Philippines?
That's what I'm saying. I'm not trying to be mean or anything.
Yeah, no,
right. I
think you got a point there. What's he gonna do? Fight for free?
Yeah. Right. I mean, exactly. Because they're not going to be able to. I mean, what's capacity there? I mean, when they fill that arena. You're not going to be able to sell $100 tickets and $300 tickets.
Jeff Horn already proved. Granted, it was Manny Pacquiao, but he already proved he could fill up a 50,000 seat stadium. That fight.
That fight ain't going. That fight ain't going nowhere, son. That fight ain't going nowhere.
Yeah.
50,000 seats in Australia. That fight ain't going nowhere.
Yeah.
All right, Beeb, it's time.
Brianna, you gonna do it this week or what? You can do the train wreck. Come on. Hurry up. Got a show to do here.
Look at Beeb cracking the whip.
Chugga, 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 choo-choo.
Good job.
Love it. Love it. Look at Beeb cracking the whip, boy. Get in here, do the train wreck, and get out.
Put her on the payroll for Beeb Industries. She better perform. She's the official chugga choo-choo.
That's right. We got to patent that. Put the patent on it. Zab Judah arrested for child support. The New York Daily News is reporting that former champion Zab Judah will serve a 3-month jail sentence for back child support. Judah, who's 39, owes over $120,000 in back child support payments. That's a lot of money. Apparently, Judah couldn't pay the $12,000 fine that it would take to keep him out, so he was taken into custody to serve that term. Yeah, that's a lot of scratch, man. $120,000. Didn't he just get out of sparring with Mayweather too?
That's right.
That's what they say.
Yeah, he said he was sparring with Mayweather or whatever. So yeah, I don't know, man. That's a tough one. Let's go to the phones here. Anonymous, you're online. Hello.
Hello.
Hey, it's Alex from Tampa.
Hey, Alex, how are you?
No, I was actually calling in because there's been so much disrespect to the other Irish fighter who's going to be fighting this night. I don't know why Beeb don't have any faith in Canelo Alvarez.
Yeah, Beeb.
Against DGG.
That's what I've been telling them. I like the Irish. I like the Irish.
Listen, Canelo is going to be standing up for his countryman McGregor in this fight. He's gonna show out for the other Irish this year. No, but in all seriousness, I've been a subscriber of Beeb now. I think it's been 8 or 9 years, and
thank you.
I don't understand why you can't really see how Canelo will fare well within the DGG fight. I'm just a little confused on that.
He's got the Triple G fan glasses on.
Well, I don't like the fact that he won't be able to weight bully Golovkin, number one. Number two, I don't like the fact that he doesn't have quick feet. Number three, I think Triple G, will take the fight to the inside, and I think he'll outwork and break down Canelo, because Canelo is the type of guy likes to lay back, likes to fight at a pretty methodical, slow pace type fight. Doesn't throw a ton of punches, and I still don't think that. I still don't think he can hit hard enough to stop Golovkin, because I think Golovkin's got a great chin. I think he tucks it well. And I think he's got a better defense than people give him credit for. I think he's really good at rolling shots. And I don't think that Canelo's going to be able to suck him into any of those sneaky counters. I just think Triple G is going to overwhelm him with his explosiveness, with his punching power, and with his activity. And I think the body shots are really going to take their toll on Canelo, and I think he's going to break him down and stop him in the 9th round. That's just how I see it.
I mean, I agree with you. Canelo is like he's more of a counter puncher. He's not, he's not an effective aggressor. So I mean, clearly this fight is going to be Canelo on the back foot most of the fight, and GGG is going to be he's going to be coming forward. That's pretty much how most people see it. But I mean, even like Willie Monroe, at times during the fight, when he would stay inside, he actually won a round or two just by standing inside on GGG. So I mean, there's opportunities for Canelo if he stays in on the inside.
I can't believe I'm about to say this, but in that particular fight, if you remember, Monroe couldn't handle GGG's defense because he would cut off the ring and he would stop anything Willie Monroe was doing.
Yeah.
No, yeah, he did, right? What I was saying is that he had spots in the fight that he actually was able to get off on GG on the inside. So with Canelo having a tight defense as he does, I think there's going to be opportunities for Canelo to get his punches off in the fight. Problem, I guess the big question to Beeb's point, the big question is whether or not he's going to be able to take the punches. You know what I'm saying? That's the big question, because GGG hasn't really, or Canelo rather, hasn't really had anyone bigger than him, stronger than him to really hit on him. And so that's going to be the big test of the night. But like I said, I mean, Canelo's the Mexican Floyd Mayweather, just with slower feet. That's the way I like to describe him. And I just don't see Canelo or GGG hurting Canelo. I just really can't see it.
You don't? This guy's a monstrous puncher, man.
Alex, is Canelo has never really been in the ring with somebody with heavy hands. This will be the first time he faces somebody with some serious power. So
middleweight power. Middleweight power.
That's exactly what I'm doing here.
Middleweight power.
You're going in on me, but yeah, go ahead, Beeb.
I was saying this is going to be middleweight power. This ain't going to be welterweight power or junior welterweight power. This is going to be middleweight power from Kazakhstan Thunder, as Jim Lampley likes to say.
Hey, Beeb, you don't think Amir Khan's got that kind of power? Come on.
Oh, he's a great puncher, but I mean,
I agree with you, fellas. Listen, I understand where you guys are coming from, but I think people are really cutting Canelo short on his defense. I mean,
I agree.
Like I said, we've seen
GGG
in these last 3 fights. I mean,
60 seconds.
Canelo or Kell Brook weighed 170 the night of the fight. But let's be real. He campaigned at a welterweight. I mean, no matter how much he blew up, his campaign Beeb was at welterweight. So no matter how we're gonna cut it, like he did get sliced up for in a few rounds versus the welterweight, and we have to give credit to that. You know what I'm saying? And so I look at it from that standpoint. Who is Canelo a bigger puncher than Kell Brook? I would say so. You know what I'm saying? So that's the only way. That's how I'm looking at it. I mean,
yeah, but is Canelo a bigger puncher than Jacobs? Is Canelo a bigger puncher than Danny Jacobs? I don't think so. No, is Canelo a bigger puncher than Danny Jacobs? I don't think so.
I don't know.
Seconds.
I know he's got more knockouts than Jacobs.
Yes.
I know he's got more knockouts than Jacobs.
He's got more fights too.
I would say Danny Jacobs is the bigger puncher. I mean, we have to be real about that.
I think Eric knows that too.
I mean, yeah, Danny Jacobs is the bigger puncher, but at the same time, if I had to pick chins, who had the better chin between the two, I would go with Canelo.
Yeah, but Canelo's never really been hit solidly by a big puncher, really. So we don't know how great the chin is.
No, that was my point earlier. He's never faced anybody with heavy hands.
Danny Jacobs got 29 knockouts in 34 fights. He's got an 85% knockout percentage. He's a beast, Danny Jacobs.
No, I understand that, brother. But what I was saying is the best chin in the game is the one that doesn't get hit. It's not Kama guy who gets hit. How many punches he got hit in the fight. One who has the best chin is the one that doesn't get hit. The guy who has the best defense. So that's all I'm saying. I just feel that Canelo will win the fight as with Robbie. I think Robbie was saying. I think it's just going to be a split decision. I don't see GGG dropping him or anything like that. But I do have a feeling it may be somewhat controversial, maybe like a style, what the judge likes. But I really do see Canelo just winning it, edging it out. That's just my personal opinion. But
yeah, I respect your opinion. I respect your opinion.
You guys were talking about the light heavy last weekend. I don't know why. How come no one's really pushing for the Ward and Stevenson fight, man? I just feel like that's the undisputed at light heavyweight is really being minimized. I don't know why anyone doesn't really want to see that.
Well, Alex,
he's not going to fight him.
You got two problems. One, Ward is with Rock Nation, and Rock Nation doesn't know how to promote.
I love what he says.
And two, you've got Adonis Stevenson, who does not want to fight anybody serious. He'll take anybody who's not a threat. I mean, his next fight is supposed to be against that Alvarez guy, the mandatory that he's got, and he made him wait for 2 years.
That's not a gimme fight. That ain't no gimme fight for Stevenson.
No, it ain't.
No, it's not. It's not
a gimme fight. The problem with Stevenson is Father Time is undefeated, and the longer he stays out of the ring, the next time he steps in the ring against anybody, he might lose.
Yes, yeah, that might be true, but I mean, and like I said, the money would most likely be on Ward, but a guy like Stevenson, man, he has to be top 3 in terms of power, of any division, and so he has to be a live dog, no matter, you know what I'm saying? Even a guy within his late 30s, man, this guy he drops everybody. He hurts everyone. He's dropped everybody in every fight. And so I just really feel the Stevenson Ward, I think Stevenson is a really dangerous fight for Ward outside of the HBO Showtime issue and the promotional issues with the fight happening. But still that would be a really good fight. I know the whole Alita Alvarez thing, I'm not really sure if he's running from him from that standpoint. I just think more or less that Yvonne Michelle doesn't really want to put his two fighters against each other. That's what I really thought it was. I just think the promoter didn't want to pit the two guys against each other. But
no, but that's what promoters do, though.
I really want to see the supremacy at light heavy.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to see it too. I would like to see Stevenson and Ward, but that fight just not going to happen because Stevenson doesn't want it. Stevenson could probably have any fight he wants. I mean, honestly, being realistic here, he can have any fight. He doesn't want that fight.
No, he doesn't want it.
I don't blame him. It's not a big money fight for him. It's not like a huge this giant money fight because Ward doesn't bring in that much. I mean, it's not going to be I don't even know that it would be his biggest payday. Beeb, would that be his biggest payday, you think?
Not only that, can you see Andre Ward going to Canada?
Yeah,
no, what are you going to do? Get Stevenson to come to Oakland?
That's the other thing. If anything, it should be in Canada. That fight should be in Canada.
Yeah, it would be better to be in Canada. You have two guys who used to be. You have two guys who used to be in the A side, and they're not going to want to give up that luxury of being in the A side. The egos are too big in that fight. You know, could that fight be a big money fight?
In Canada, yeah. Look at the gate in Canada.
In Canada, yeah. You know, and the thing is this too, like if they work a way where they make it pay-per-view in Canada and they work out a deal where Andre Ward gets a portion of the pay-per-view money in Canada, there's a lot of ways to make it happen. But the thing is, Andre Ward's going to want it all his way.
Right.
And that's just the way he's always been. And I mean, I can't fault the guy. I'm a big Andre Ward fan, but at the end of the day, I think if he really wanted that fight, he's going to have to, you know, kind of bend a little bit. But, you know, he's going to say, I have 3 belts. This guy got 1. So why should I have to bend it all? And it's going to be tough, man. It's a tough argument either way. But at the end of the day, it's a fight that I would like to see. But it's a fight that seems pretty improbable because of these two personalities and egos.
And because of, and on that point, yeah, it's likely improbable. You know, I guess like as you know, boxing purists, like us boxing nerds, like that would be something like just for undisputed sake, like we would like to see that. But I guess more of a realistic fight would be the Badu, Jack, and Stevenson. Like, how do you? I mean, I know you guys talked on it briefly, but like, how do you guys see that fight going?
I like Jack.
I like Jack too.
I think Jack the Ripper takes that title, man.
I like Jack.
That title is gone.
I think if Adonis Stevenson fights anybody of quality, it's going to be over.
That's right. Jack the Ripper will go steal that title.
That's going to be the next fight that's going to be made.
I mean, this guy. I mean, I'm just kind of baffled because I mean, you got a guy in James DeGale that dropped. I mean, James DeGale is not even a big puncher, and James DeGale dropped Jack in the first round. Like, can you imagine?
I think he's a decent. I think he's a decent. I think James DeGale's a solid puncher, though. I don't think he's a soft puncher. I don't think he's a feather-fisted guy.
He's not the level of a Stevenson, is what I'm saying.
Possibly not. No. But I think he's more athletically gifted than Stevenson. I think overall, you may argue that he's more talented than Stevenson as a fighter. I like James DeGale, I really do.
But yeah, he's terrific, man. I definitely have him somewhere. Probably not my top 10, but he's definitely probably in my top 15. Just being able to dominate the 168 division these last few years, man. I think
he's good.
Terrific, man. I would like to see George. I would like to see him rematch George Groves at some point, or Chris Eubanks Jr. Man, I really I don't know, like Chris Eubanks Jr. Like he gets a lot of slack, but I think like a fight between him and James DeGale would be a terrific fight.
Yeah,
I think so. Alex, anything else on your mind?
I'll hang up.
All right, man. All right. We'll talk to you soon, man. Don't be a stranger. Call in, man. Call in. Jay Cotto was in the chat wanting to call in. Jay Cotto, you're late, baby. You're late. Come on. You know the rules. You got to call in early. Got to call in at 9 o'clock. Got to call in before 9 o'clock. Switchboard shuts down. Listen, it's not me. It's them. I don't do anything.
Sorry, Jay Cotto.
Sit, baby. Sit, baby.
I haven't heard from him in a while. Would have been,
go look him up on YouTube. He's got good videos.
Would have been nice to hear from him. I haven't heard from him in a while.
I know. Where you been? That'll do it for this edition of Ringside Reporter. As always, you can catch Robert on Twitter at Ringside Robert or call Ringside Robbie's Corner at 917-259-1810. Leave him a message. You can catch Joe Habib on Twitter at jhabib1. Find his YouTube channel at beatingtheoddswithbeeb.com. I'm at Ringside 73. You can catch us on ringsidereporter.com. And we will see you next week.
Laters.